Punching Up, a Nintendo podcast, is brought to you by you. If you want to learn how to support our show, go to patreon.com/laststandmedia. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Punching Up, your bi-weekly Nintendo podcast from Last Stand Media. I'm your host, Dustin. Here with me, the full lineup, Gene Park. How are you, dude?
Good morning. Happy New Year. Is this our first episode of the year?
It is. First episode of the year. That's right.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Is it in the legal ramification where you can say that's the 9th?
Oh, that's right.
I know there's opinions on that.
That's the last time I say it for forever.
Okay, yeah.
I'm never saying Happy New Year ever again.
Good. Get that last one out. How are you, dude?
But yeah, first episode, very discombobulating. It feels like time travel to have a recording schedule and try to talk in that order, right? So now it's like, okay, well, now we're in the order of regular, progressive, linear time,
Right.
And we're moving forward.
Yeah, you get messed up. Well, it's been a particularly weird because not only were we recording so much stuff in advance, but then the schedule changed. And in addition,
that's right. Yeah.
Week 1 wasn't the normal new schedule. So we had to get through that first week. Now week 2 is normal. And I think next week will be normal. There's an Xbox Direct, and I think we're going to have to try slightly change things already. But that's the thing it's one of the nice things about the way we do things. We can just kind of go with the flow as
the
needed.
Xbox Direct just got announced, right?
Right. Yeah, we were talking about that in the Discord, like how we're going to deal with that on Duke.
Thursday.
But
Thursday, January 18th.
That's correct. Yeah.
Breaking news here on the Nintendo podcast.
That's right. Mama Micah, hello. How are you doing? And this is your first show back after the break, right?
Yeah. And so I was joking with Colin over the holiday break. I got a haircut. Okay. And no one has seen me since then. And I was going to make a joke on Twitter, but I just knew it would get taken the wrong way. I was going to be like, everyone's talking about Brad. Nobody even noticed my new haircut. But the reality is that I haven't been on a single thing since I got it. But I knew there would be someone who'd be like, wow, jealousy much? Already problems with the new, I just knew it would be an issue, but it's like
drama.
So I was like, I just can't. I
did
can't
just
make
notice
the
your
joke.
hair down, Micah. So yeah, good job.
I noticed during our meeting the other day, we had a meeting to talk about merch, but you were not at your normal. You were at your other desk?
Yeah, I was at the potato desk.
It's like, maybe this is just a different camera, different angle or something. Maybe I'm not very observant as a person sometimes, but I did notice that. But yeah. So congratulations on the haircut.
Thank you.
It's
First
a big
one
deal.
in 2 years. Yeah.
Whoa, 2 years. Dang.
Yeah. Well, I had to grow my hair out real long for the wedding so I could wear an updo without having to straighten it, right? So I needed my hair to just be as long as possible. But then it got kind of unhealthy between that time period. So now I got to restart. I don't really like having short hair, but I needed a reset basically. So now we're not going to go 2 years without a haircut again. That was a mistake.
Yeah. Haircuts feel good. I got one over the break right before we went on break. So it kind of is evened out now where it's maybe just slightly different, but it doesn't look fresh. This is actually the good zone for a haircut, I feel like. But Dagan, I feel like I haven't seen you in years at this point. Man. You in particular. It's been so long. So tell me, what's new with your life? Have you had, another kid maybe?
No.
Maybe moved houses? I don't know. Anything's possible with how long it's been.
Yeah, we had a scare, but no,
Okay.
nothing on the kid front. Nothing on the kid front. The door is closed on that one for sure. It's first of all, happy 2024 to you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
You know what? I think in all my years, I have to say, it's funny that you're saying it's jarring getting back into a schedule. I know what you mean, but I don't think I've ever seen a year transition to another year where it just feels like the same exact year continued. It just feels like we're still. I know it's a new year. I acknowledge that, but it feels like the 2023 energy just remained exactly the same. You know how I know? Well, when you just spent 365 days in the previous year, right? You're in a new year. You have to write that new number. So now we graduated from 2023 to 2024. And you know what? How I know this? When we take things out of the fridge, like let's say we open up a thing of milk, take the Sharpie, write the date on it, right? To say this is when it's. I don't know if everybody does that or that's some OCD thing, but that's what I do for everything. Anything that's perishable gets the Sharpie date on it, right? I went straight on New Year's Day, opened up something, I don't know, a bag of cheddar cheese or something, wrote 2024 without making that accident of still thinking it's 2023. So I was like, oh, maybe that's the first time ever where it was just like that smooth transition. Yeah. I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing. I'll the jury's out on that still, but it just feels like the same exact. It just feels like an extension. Like this year is going to be twice as long or something. Like 2023 is just going to be twice as long. I don't know. It's a weird energy. And again, I don't know if that's positive or negative, but that's really how I feel.
Yeah, it's funny. I remember when I was in high school and college and stuff, and you would write the date a lot. I remember always screwing it up. But now writing by hand is so foreign to me that never happens because I almost never write anything.
Yeah,
ever.
That's a thing.
I might write something by hand 3 to 5 times a year.
Really?
I think I never have to.
See, I have like all these notes all over the place. Like I'm like the Zodiac killer or something. Like I write constantly. Like I have Post-it notes all over the house. I usually have a Post-it note stuck to the back of my phone with my to-do list for the day. Like I write so much stuff down because otherwise, I'll write myself notes in my phone and then forget to look at them. So it's like I need that little slip of paper to tell me I have things to do.
Because you guys are the same age. You guys are the same age. You do it completely different. That's interesting. See, I'm old school, so I'm always going to write on paper. Always draw on paper, never start an illustration or an animation without, I never just jump right into the computer. Something's got to be down on like a scrap of paper first.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
I think I'm at the age, Diggin, where I'm with Dustin and Micah.
Okay, and you're right. You're in between us. Generation.
Yeah, I'm right between both of y'all. I think I'm at the cusp where I'm also like Dustin. I write something. The only time I write anything down is when the doctors tell me to write something down. That's it. That's the only time I've written something down. And then the doctors will look at my handwriting and they'll be like, "Oh, it looks like mine," because it's like because we both have chicken scratch handwriting. And,
oh my god, that's me too.
Yeah, I've always had chicken scratch handwriting. My first grade teacher called it chicken scratch, and I've never forgotten it. But yeah, I don't write anything down. I just use my phone. I use a notes app with my phone, or I take voice memos. I might even do it on my watch. Like just like note to self.
Oh, some James Bond shit.
Yeah.
I like that. It's good. I mean, I feel like you're doing it right. Like that's the way it should be now. I'm just so inherently tied to the old school way of doing things that it's almost in a stubborn way. It's like, why do I still do it like this?
You're right that it's old school. Even journalists always have their little reporter's notebook, the little oblong like notebook, right? Because it fits on our back pocket, at least for men. It's very handy. And I've been using those for decades, except for in the last 10 years. And then now at the Washington Post, we're actually just sunsetting those notebooks. Like we're just not going to use those notebooks anymore, which sucks because a lot of people are pissed off because there's a lot of older folks who still like to write.
Sure.
And even I'm a little pissed off too. Those are still handy to have around a desk to write stuff. It's still faster to write something down on a piece of pen and paper instead of like pick up your phone, unlock it, open a notes app, and then
that's true too.
Starting a new file and then starting to type. There are certain things that might take longer in manuscript, or I mean in typing, but for the most part, like getting a pen and paper will take longer than getting my phone. So like that includes the calculation,
Yeah. Speaking of writing, Dagan, I have a write-in just for you about this. It's from Trap Gunner, who says, "Hey punchers, happy New Year. My write-in is for Dagan. Over the break, I noticed that Pat Contry's N64 book went up for pre-order. The book features reviews by Dagan, so I wondered if he would share some info about working on the book. Favorite review he wrote, etc." So, Dagan, you're a bit of an author yourself over there doing some N64 reviews. And I know you worked on Pat's previous book. So I'm so happy to hear that's finally available for pre-order. Like, what's the details here?
Yeah, that was That's been years in the making. You know what I think? God, I haven't talked to Pat since Too Many Games, so I haven't talked to him since the summertime in person when we usually meet up because he's out in SD. You know, he's out on the West Coast. But I think COVID had a big part to play in just getting things published. I know the comic book guys, the professional graphic novel illustrators that I know, like printing is just backed up. God, I mean, Gene could probably speak to that too, somewhat with the newspapers too. Like printing is just like it's in bad shape. The backlog is getting thicker and thicker, but it's nice to know that things are finally in the offing because I think I wrote those reviews we finished up like 2 years ago. So
wow. Yeah.
I even had to, I noticed in our show notes, thank God, and I had a printed out list of the things I worked on because I totally forgot, you know, what it was. But when Pat approached me to do the N64 book, I started with him in 2018 with the Super Nintendo guidebook, the Ultimate Guide to the Super Nintendo. And that was a lot of fun. And then I went back, he reprinted the NES book and rewrote all the reviews, like all 800 and something reviews for it. And I took a chunk of those. So I was involved with the reprinting of the NES book. And then when he was doing the N64 book and putting his team together, I was kind of on the fence about doing it because I'm not a huge N64 guy. I know I bust a lot of chops with the N64. It's kind of a loving, ribbing relationship with the N64. I was pushing for him to do a Sega Genesis book. I really wanted him to go outside of Nintendo, but he's a Nintendo guy. That's his whole bread and butter. So he wanted to stick with Nintendo. And I said, you know what, I'll finally do it. But I figured out an angle when I said, you know what, I'm not an N64 expert, and I'm sort of an N64 detractor publicly. So maybe it'll be funny for me. I'm not going to do the Mario 64s and the Ocarinas and the Majora Masks and the Golden Eyes and the Banjo Kazooies. I'm not going to do the mainline games. I think those should be left to people that really know those games. But let me do the shitty, like the rare games, the crappy games, the games that maybe were kind of more on the shovelware-y. Like, let me do the games that nobody else wants. And he gave me this list of shit games. And I said, it'll be entertaining because I'll be able to I'll write what I want. I'll educate people on games they probably never heard of. And I could write what I want, good or bad, because no one's going to argue with it, right? And also, maybe I'll find some diamonds in the rough. You know, maybe I'll find some games that are actually good. And I did. I did a bunch of games. You know, I did like all of the like IP games, like the Batman Beyond game. I did the Powerpuff Girls game, the Sesame Street games. They're just what you think they would be. Total garbage. 3 diamonds in the rough. And I won't ruin it because I think you guys should buy the book, but there were 3 games that I never heard of that were all, I looked back at my list and I gave pretty good reviews. I had never heard of them. The first one is called Rat Attack. It's an action puzzler where you're just basically play as a cat and you have to sort of marshal and collect all these evil zombie mutant rats on each level. You get enough and then you go to the next level. Super fun. And then there was a shooter, like a classic shmup space shooter, which the N64 had precious few of those, called Star Soldier Vanishing Earth, I want to say it was called. And it was a Hudson Soft game. That not quite a bullet hell game, not that difficulty level, but a really competent space shooter, which I was surprised. I wouldn't be surprised to find that on the Super Famicom, but on the N64. So that was cool. And then there was another one called, I'll never forget this because I was like, what the hell is this title? An American game. I think it was a European game because it was an Infogrames game called Starshot Space Circus Fever. That was the name of the game. What the hell is this game?
Oh, yeah.
And it was a really interesting game. It was an action platformer where you play. I remember the story was like, there's an evil circus in space and it's traveling and trying to dismantle and take out all the other competing circuses. So you play as this little clown juggler like kid. I remember he looked like a Thundercat and he has a little robot companion and you go around and platform a la, think of insert N64 platformer here, right? Like Mario 64, but he has a space, like a blaster, a space gun that shoots laser beams that you could actually maneuver after they're shot, so you could steer them around. It was a really interesting mechanic. And then the little robot R2D2 like companion helps you fly around. I remember the game kind of sucking because of the camera, but I loved conceptually. I was like, wow, this is a really cool game. How has no one heard of this? It's weird. And it's trying to do a lot, you know? So those were the three kind of gems that I found, the three kind of hidden diamonds in the rough that I found doing the book. But you know, it was fun doing the book because whether the game was crappy or whether the game turned out to be good, I reviewed games that I had never heard of, let alone played.
Right.
So, you know, that's how I kept it interesting for myself. It was good. It was a good time. I really hope, you know, what's cool about the N64 book? It's going to be big with a whole nother generation of kids, you know, which I think is in your and Micah's wheelhouse age wise. Like that was your console when you guys were really little, you know? So I hope after all the wait it pays off for Pat, because he worked hard on it and he went through a few different editors. It was a slog, but he's arrived, which is good.
Yeah. So that's available for pre-order right now. If you search Pat Contri N64 book, that's how I found it immediately. So you can go check that out along with those other books. And your boy Dagan has written some stuff in there. So shout out. That's pretty awesome.
Thanks, Dust.
So real quick, patreon.com/laststandmedia. That's where we're from. That's where we live. That's where we breathe. That's where we eat and die, is patreon.com/laststandmedia, where you can support us for just $5 a month and get early access to this show, along with all of our other stuff. We have one small programming change for this show in that this show will be coming out on Wednesdays now. So you have that. And the other thing, too, is that we are, based on the way the schedule worked, it was kind of, when you have this many shows, it's kind of gets really difficult to figure out where things go and what makes sense. And we really wanted Punching Up to be more in the center of the week alongside our other shows as far as when they release publicly. So Punching Up now is going to release to the public just 24 hours after the Patreon release. So there's a little bit less of that Patreon exclusivity time, but we do think it's going to be helpful to not only push us more into the week as a public release on Thursday, but have us kind of lined up nicely with Defining Duke, Sacred Symbols. So keep that in mind. I also want to shout out our new show, Summon Sign, if you haven't heard of it yet. And I don't know how you have it because it's doing awesome on YouTube. We hired a good friend of ours, Brad Ellis from originally Game Trailers and Easy Allies, to come over and do a show that's literally just talking about games and the games we're playing. So much of our shows are very news-based and analytical about the industry. We love that. That's our bread and butter. We absolutely love doing that. But we wanted to have a show where we could really dive into games, individually talk about them in depth. And so if you're interested in that, check out Summon Sign. The first episode is out now for everybody. So on our Patreon and on Free Feed, so you can just check that out here on this channel if you're on YouTube. And the other thing I'll just say is that while we're going to be talking about games we're playing, it doesn't change on this show. We'll still be talking about the games we're playing. That show is just a lot more in depth. So instead of a segment, it is the entire show. So you'll have that in different permutations of people. You'll see everybody from this crew on that show at some point with somebody else from some other show in Last Stand and guests. So check that out. Summon Sign. It's been pretty cool. So I think that's it for changes, plugs, all the housekeeping stuff. So guys, let's get into our main topic. This is our first show of the year, and it's a weird year right now for Nintendo. Where we're standing right now when we're looking out at the year, I put together this list of all the things we know about. But to just talk about this list, there's like a giant elephant in the room, which is, of course, that Nintendo will be releasing a new console. We've talked about that quite a bit. We don't know nearly anything about this right now, but I wanted to talk about what we know so far, some of these games, and I wanted to go through them, ask you guys if there's anything you're excited for, anything that maybe since it was announced you're maybe not feeling so hot on, and then also just to like your thoughts about how these releases will play into the next Switch and whether we're going to see a 2-system timeline where they live beside each other. Anything's possible. But before we get into conversation, I want to lay out these games, the currently known Nintendo games for this year. January, Nintendo sleeping at the wheel, not doing shit. And that's okay, because there's plenty of other stuff going on. But in February 16th, we have Mario versus Donkey Kong, the remake of the Game Boy Advance game. This was announced a few months back at a Nintendo Direct. So that's the first big release. And then the following month, March 22nd, Princess Peach Showtime. That's a game we've talked about a few times here. We haven't seen, I think, since that Direct, really, but that'll be another big one. And so those are the two big confirmed date games, right? And then we're starting to get a little more murky with Q2, so in April, May, or June, Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. So sort of, probably, I wouldn't call it a remake, but scaling that up to look nice on the Switch. And then sometime in 2024, which I'm willing to bet sooner rather than later, Paper Mario, The Thousand Year Door remake. And I believe that was recently the rating of that was leaked from some rating board, maybe either Korea or Australia, usually on the ones too.
So it's Korea, Australia.
Yeah, it's Korea or Australia, whatever they're doing over on that side of the world. I don't know. They're always leaking these.
They're very open governments over there, apparently.
Yeah. So I'm guessing that's going to be sooner rather than later. And then last but not least, I threw this in here for the lulz, really, but Metroid Prime 4, is it happening? It's, I think, maybe the only other game that Nintendo has announced that has not been unannounced. Obviously, we know that it's been rebooted and restarted, and probably just going to be a Super Switch 2 game at this point, but hard to say. So, Gene, I'll throw this over to you. How are you feeling about this lineup? And is there anything, or do you feel like we're lacking, or we just need to be patient? It's like I said, it's a weird time to look forward.
Yeah, I mean, I was on a PlayStation podcast recently, Basement Radio something podcast, Basement Radio Arcade podcast, Brapcott podcast. Good guys, give them a shout out. But
I've been on that show. I've been on that show once or twice.
Oh, wow.
Those are good dudes.
Yeah, good guys, and they're
dudes.
actually local around like Virginia and everything too, which is awesome. But some of the audience got mad at me because I was like, we don't know what PlayStation is up to in 2024 and 2025. This is very mysterious. This is the PS5 generation, right? And they're like, well, what about Nintendo though? You don't even know what Nintendo is working on. And it's like, Nintendo fans aren't really worried about whether we're going to get the next Mario or Zelda game. Oh my God, is Nintendo going to have a new Mario game? You know, that we're not wondering about that like we're wondering what the fuck Sucker Punch is doing, or whether there's going to be a Last of Us Part 3 or anything like that. You know, like, I'm sorry, like, we just don't have those concerns over here at Nintendo, because we know that Nintendo's going to come through. They're always cooking. The line never stops. You know, and Sony will
Miyamoto, let him cook. Let him cook. Let Miyamoto cook, man. Dude, and they're getting the good stuff going.
There's no other company that understands the importance of a good launch lineup than Nintendo, right? No other company right now than probably Sony, right? I guess. And so they have to be making something amazing for the Switch too. So I'm not worried at all about this release schedule going into 2024, like I am with Sony, because Sony needs to announce things early because their games take a while, but also that's just their habit. Nintendo will just announce something and it's like, okay, well, it's coming out later this year, you know, because we've been working on it and it's fine and it's gonna run great probably, you know, even though it's on the stinky Switch. You know, Metroid Prime 1 still with 60 frames per second. It looks amazing, you know. Think about how amazing Metroid Prime 4 is going to look. But yeah, otherwise, yeah, obviously, when you look at this calendar, there's barely anything on it. You know, I'm excited for Princess Peach Showtime personally, but yeah, if we didn't know that the Switch 2 is going to come out this year, then yes, obviously I'd be a little worried. But also, we're probably going to get a direct pretty soon, and they're probably going to start dropping all kinds of things sooner or later. But really, it's that floodgate isn't going to open until we see that first new trailer for the Switch 2 with some licensed funky music going on and some very happy white people and black people and brown people and Asian people sitting around on a family couch playing Nintendo. And look at how much fun the family is playing. And we're probably gonna see a new fucking Zelda on the screen for no reason. Like, oh, there's a new Zelda, 2 seconds of it. You know, we're gonna be we're gonna be sucking up teat of those images for months until another direct.
Yeah, there'll be a 6-hour analysis video of the 12 frames of the new Zelda. You know, just like breaking down
from
everything.
us, and Wolf beat 'em up or whatever, and
Game Explain always does those. The funny thing is, I don't want to make fun of them.
That's right. Game Explain will do that, and then the video is like 3 minutes long for some reason.
Yeah. Well, sometimes they've done long ones, and I think initially you see that and you're like, oh, what are they? They're doing that level analysis on that little, and then I fucking watch it, and I'm like, well, that was good. I like it, so I guess joke's on me. I'm not. I mean, I think it's awesome. So
yeah, shout out to Game Explain. I don't want to trash him.
Yeah, dude. I think
all the time. So
I for certain super nerdy stuff like that, I love the deep level of analysis. That's why, I mean, dude, there's nothing better than like finishing a game or a show and then you can go to YouTube and just watch whatever you want. Like search. Dagan, you don't have this experience because you just spoil whatever. But like
I do.
Right now, it's going to be months and months from now. But when I finish One Piece, I think about the treasure trove of content available for me about theories and like different, like, look at this moment, let's analyze this. It's going to be great. So anyway, that was a side tangent. But Micah, I want to ask you really liked Super Mario RPG this past year. And so Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, I think, has your name all over it. Like this, I'm saying this is a game you're going to have to play day one.
Oh, absolutely.
Totally.
So what do you think about these games, Micah?
Yeah, I totally agree with Gene that while this is a very short list of confirmed things for us to look at, I'm with Gene 100% that when they actually announce the next Switch is when they're going to say, and here's the other stuff that's coming out. And then we're going to be like, whoa. But it is of like, yeah, they're definitely just keeping some secrets right now. But I'm really stoked for Paper Mario: Thousand Year Door, because that is, as we've discussed previously, these are games that I've always wanted to try, but it's the ease of trying them is what's held me back, or the lack of ease of trying them is what's held me back from actually playing these. So having them on Switch, like, amazing. Now maybe that'll be a game that's like cross-platform, maybe that'll be on Switch and the new Switch, like who knows, but I'm totally cool with what we have, like knowing right now, because yeah, it doesn't look like much, but I'm sure that list is going to like expand dramatically once this Switch is actually announced, whatever the next console is. And then we're just going to have, like, for me, this is time to just really get through some backlog games, right? Like playing, something new, something old in between these titles, because I honestly take it as a good thing sometimes when there's a bit of a lull with new games of like, well, here's my excuse to go back and play these Xenoblade games I want to get back to. Things like that I'm going to have time to do for as long as we're waiting for the next console to come out. So I'm totally cool with this. And yes, Princess Peach Showtime still top of my list of like, that's a day one get for me. Like everything I've seen about that game just looks cute, colorful, fun, just, upbeat. That's totally what I'm after. So that's one I'm super excited for still, even though we haven't seen much more about it. I'm okay with that though. I don't want them to spoil the game for me. So that one I'm just like waiting for March very impatiently.
I gotta be honest with you guys. I watched the trailer again for Princess Peach Showtime this morning. Got a weird feeling from it. Gene and I were both, maybe got a little Peach thing going on. We like her. She's
Peach is my first crush. So
yeah, she's got some interesting characteristics, is what I'm saying.
Peach was as a child. Peach was the concept of woman for me. Like that was the woman. So
you're like, damn, Mario, you're getting a cake from Peach.
I just didn't know really what a woman was, and then there was Princess Peach. I'm like, okay, well, that's what a woman is, So like for a long time, like Princess Peach defined women for me. So
yeah, but I rewatched the trailer, and I felt like it looked too like an easy baby game.
But we don't know that yet. We don't know for sure that it's gonna be. Maybe it'll be like a Souls-like, and the bosses
Peach
will be really
Souls-like.
hard.
Yeah,
that would be amazing.
Because I was, in the trailer they show the part where she turns into like Three Musketeer Peach or Swordsman Peach, and that I was like, okay, this looks all right. It doesn't need to be. I don't need it to be Dark Souls, but okay. And then it shows her as the detective, and I thought that part's probably not going to be very fun. The whodunit, like a Nintendo kids puzzle part, I was like, that's
there's a puzzle aspect for sure. Like you could tell, I suspect.
Yeah. So Dagan, how are you feeling about these games or Princess Peach? I mean, take this any direction you like.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we're definitely in the quiet before the storm. You know what I mean? Like this is definitely the build-up period of the horror film. They're going to reward us with a proper jump scare, but I feel like it's going to be a minute, So I love what Micah says about like taking this opportunity to address your backlog. That definitely speaks to me. I think with Metroid Prime 4, just in following that along, I think it would, of course it would be anticlimactic to put that out on a console that's in its last gasps. You have to wait now for the next console for that one. I mean, given the whole all the drama, right? Like taking it back, saying it's not good enough, going back to square one, wiping the slate clean, and essentially starting over. Whatever happened there, the payoff has to be justified now. Yeah, Princess Peach Showtime. I don't know if I'm excited about it because it's like the only new thing on the horizon, or because I'm genuinely excited about it, but it does look cute. Like I love the Broadway play / stage show aesthetic. I love cosplaying Peach. I think there's an opportunity, like we said, for a little Zero Suit Samus Peach in there. I'm a little worried if we go there for Gene and Dustin. Maybe we don't go there.
Dude, they can't. Well, Nintendo does know what they're doing, though. So they probably will, actually.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which speaks to manga and anime. Like they're always so good at skirting that line of like inappropriately sexy and just kind of like, overtly sexy and, maybe I shouldn't think this is sexy type of thing. They're masters at that. I'm not saying Nintendo. I'm saying the Japanese are masters of that. Right. So,
I mean, they're just more open with sex in general as a society. So they're much more experienced in skirting that line, Yeah,
that's a good point.
Yeah, exactly. Because, you just see older gentlemen in the subway reading, hentai, openly. Right. It's fine. It's like, it's not a big deal.
It's what we do. It's what we do.
Yeah, it's crazy to think. I mean, I think we have a better, clearer picture of Luigi's genitals than anything from Peach. Because we saw the tennis thing, the outline. Like, man, that's
yes, we did.
And we see more skin from Mario, shirtless Mario from Odyssey, which we confirm Mario has nipples.
But bro, Princess Peach had that sexy basketball uniform in NBA Street Volume 3 for the GameCube. Which I tweeted about recently, but NBA Street Volume 3 for the GameCube in 2005 had an exclusive Mario All-Stars team that had Mario and Luigi in their regular plumber's clothes, and then Peach shows up in her basketball shorts and jersey.
I am wondering how Nintendo keeps up that energy, though, as they're transitioning from the Switch to the next thing. I'm wondering what comes at, because I don't think there's a direct coming up in February, right? Supposedly. Now, I don't think there's going to be any huge reveals yet. Maybe there will be. Maybe I'm completely wrong, but there's going to be a period of time where they have to keep up the momentum, and I'm just wondering what they do to get themselves from A to B. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting year. I mean, because we're coming off a banner year for them. So it's like, how do you continue that hype? I'm not even sure how you sustain that.
Yeah, it's we've seen this period before. I think back to the late years of the Wii U, where, I mean, that was really an extended time where I think Nintendo was like, abandon ship. Like, we got to put all of our development onto the next thing. We'll throw out some scraps for this thing as we try to, we'll just survive for a bit and then we'll move on. And I mean, clearly that was the right decision. The big difference is where with this particular platform is that, Switch is there's so many out there. The install base is so big.
Oh, it's huge.
I imagine that this will be a situation where Switch is going to live alongside Switch 2, Super Switch, whatever, for potentially, I don't know, a year, 2 years, maybe, kind of like 3DS. It's crazy to think back and remember that 3DS lived alongside the Switch for a few years.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously that's a little different since that was their hand. They were kind of rocking two handhelds at the same time, but it'll be really interesting to see how they do, move on or not in this scenario. So, but yeah, it'll be exciting. Hopefully, Nintendo, please give us a direct or anything, so we have some concrete stuff to talk about. Obviously, we have stuff in the backlog, and there's still interesting stuff going on. But yeah, so that's Nintendo in 2024. What we know so far. But guys, let's get into. I'm really excited to talk about this first news item because this has been dominating the conversation online. That's that there's a possibility that some Xbox games could be coming to Nintendo Switch and also, PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5 as well. Let's get into this. Are Xbox games headed to Nintendo Switch? The Australian ratings board has let the cat out of the bag. They leaked that Hi-Fi Rush has been rated for the Switch and PlayStation 5. That's not all, because Jeff Grubb on his podcast said, quote, "When I first started hearing these rumors, I was like, that's probably about Sea of Thieves, because I've heard that could come to Switch and PlayStation." So here's where we're at, guys, is that it's all but confirmed. Hi-Fi Rush, at least this rating, says Switch, which is interesting on a few different levels, but also possibly Sea of Thieves as well coming. And so this surprised a lot of people. I guess this makes sense. This is their first party teams. These are teams that they fully own. This is much bigger. This is a step beyond something like Cuphead, which is MDHR. They helped publish that game. They don't fully own it, and they don't own that team, but it came over Switch. But also the Ori games, another team they don't own, but they've had a big part in shepherding that IP, also came over to Switch. But this, as I was saying, is even a step further, because this is from Rare, which is funny that if it's Sea of Thieves, they'll be coming back home. I don't know if that game will run very well on Switch. But also, Hi-Fi Rush. So let's go around, see what everybody's thoughts are about here. Micah, let's start with you, because I don't know about recently, but you've got a big investment in the Xbox ecosystem. Seems like they might be branching out. They want to come sit on old Mario's lap, say, hey, here's some games for you. Please give us money. What do you think?
Yeah, no, Daddy Phil is expanding. I don't know. So I worry about performance with like a title like Sea of Thieves for sure. That's something I say, I don't think I'd want to play that on Switch. I think it's interesting to bring it to that platform. It'd be a cool game to play on, like a mobile console. Like, oh, great, I can just bring this anywhere. But I don't know how great that would be. And yeah, Hi-Fi Rush, I think that's in terms of like type of game, audience, that's like a great fit for Switch. It's not something I was super interested in myself. I think it looks incredibly cool, stylish. Like I was all about like watching people play. So I'm like, yeah, this looks really neat, but it wasn't a Micah game that I thought I'd actually enjoy playing. I find myself playing Xbox, less and less over the years. Like very recently, I've been playing it quite a bit. And we'll talk about that later with like the what we're playing section. But I have sort of migrated away from Xbox, much more over to Switch, because I do just love the portability and being able to still interact with Colin without having to be like in separate rooms, separate TVs type thing. So I am excited for what this might open up even more in the future in terms of like some of these games coming over to Switch. But like these specific ones, like something like Sea of Thieves, it gives me like, I don't know how well that's going to run. That would make me nervous if it was coming to the current Switch and not to the next one, for example. But I like the possibilities that this opens up for like the future of like collaboration between these companies.
So a few maybe a month or two ago, we talked about a quote. It was either from Phil or someone at Microsoft that was like, we want Nintendo and PlayStation gamers to be part of the Xbox community. And we joked about like, oh, no, like, we're part of the Xbox. Okay, well, that doesn't quite make sense. But seeing a rumor like this, it definitely seems like they are looking outward. So, Dig, I wanted to ask you, how do you feel about a little Rare homecoming? I mean, we saw Banjo-Kazooie in Smash. That was kind of like, well, borrowing that character back. But seeing something like Sea of Thieves, maybe even if it's not that, but something else in the future, it'd be kind of interesting.
Yeah, that really is. I didn't even think of that angle, Dust. It's a really good way to consider it because it's a little bit of that you can go home again thing. It's like, who knew? Like, who knew that would be the route? You know, that would be the trajectory. It's interesting. I think this whole thing speaks to what you said earlier, Dust, about the install base. This is a massive install base. You know, there's an opportunity there. You know, when I first started hearing about this stuff, and I was looking at you guys and everybody else talking about it on Twitter, I was like, I don't know why it smacked of this to me at first, but I was like, is this kind of sellout-y or cash grabby from Xbox's / Microsoft's perspective? Or is it that energy that we already had a hint of like, we're gonna play nice with Nintendo and sort of form this alliance, you know, kind of an olive branch that behooves both both companies' bottom lines. You know, it kind of does make sense, you know, and I think if this kind of energy continues, I think you're worried if you're Sony a little bit, right? Because it seems like a team up a little bit, you know, a little bit of that energy. I'm sure Nintendo especially will maintain their independence. They're not going to play too nice. I can't see that happening, especially, you know, at the current state of their success and their promise for everything that's good. I think they're going to get even bigger this year, which is insane. But yeah, it's a really interesting thing because at first I was looking at it like, I don't know, that seems a little bit, you know, it seems almost like Xbox cashing in, but you know, maybe it's smart.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think that's a kind of a big part of it when you look at the strategy that these games are. I don't think necessarily pulling anybody over to Game Pass. And why wouldn't you sell them for full price on someone else's console? Absolutely. Gene, I wanted to ask you because a lot of this conversation around this is, to be honest, guys, I'm not trying to make fun of you. Maybe I am a little, but it's like my branding, my platform, my exclusives. What am I going to do? What's the point? What I put my identity in this box, and now Nintendo fans playing my games. Like, there's just people freaking out about this, and so I think there are some valid arguments. This idea of one. Well, no, maybe there's not. Because I'm thinking about this whole exclusive angle, and I don't care. Like, I don't care. Like, honestly, if Nintendo games came to another platform, I might play them there because they might run better. Like, it doesn't matter to me. So what are your thoughts? Is Xbox making it, you know, is this the ultimate anime betrayal by putting some of these exclusives over on Nintendo and PlayStation, or do you think this is smart business?
First of all, my perspective is a pie in the sky one, but I will love if video games just ran wherever. It's fine, you know.
Yeah.
If there was a standard for video games that just ran, and it's just like we just run it like on PC, which is why so many people on love PC, right? Because there's no PC, there's no Dell only game, you know.
Great point.
There's no game that only works on the Asus PC or whatever, you know. There's no book that only runs on this kind of paper, you know. There's no movie that wouldn't display on that kind of TV, you know. So I think it's dumb that there's that there are games that won't run on the game machines, you know. That said, such a move would upend the entire industry, and I feel like it'll probably might see it in our lifetimes, but it'll probably be a long time before the current state of things, where there is a quote unquote console war or platform competition and platform exclusivity will continue. Nintendo loves that. That's Nintendo's entire business. We're making machines and we're making toys for those machines, so you can buy the machines and you can buy the toys. Right. Buy it all together, right? That's exactly the thing. And that said, I think it's also really, really funny to see a lot of analysts, a lot of video game analysts, and a lot of video game journalists who have been talking to Phil Spencer and who have been hearing Phil Spencer and Xbox leadership say the same things over and over again for this past 3 years. Still gets and see Xbox fans still get surprised that, you know, like there was that whole hubbub where the CFO or whatever was saying, you know, oh yeah, Xbox games are not going to be on an Xbox console, blah blah blah, and people thought that was some kind of new strategy because he was saying this is our new strategy. No, he's saying quote unquote new strategy, as in quote unquote new strategy, as in the last like 3 years or whatever, last 3 or 4 years. That's Microsoft's new quote unquote new strategy. It's not something that he just came up with in the last few weeks and he's just announcing it now. It's consistent. Xbox doesn't give a shit about the console. Because they lost. They did lose. The game's over. PlayStation won already, you know? Phil has already said that, you know? And so it's really funny to say that Xbox fans refuse to accept that. But I guess because as long as you're putting out a machine, then you're still in a race, right?
Right.
But
Yeah,
I don't think that's what Microsoft Windows, I don't think that's what Bill Gates, I don't think that's what Satya Nadella wants. I don't think that they want to sell a machine that has exclusive games. I think they want to sell it like they sell Windows. They want to sell software and they want to have it proliferate everywhere. And they would rather have Microsoft have a presence in your ecosystem anywhere rather than none at all, right? So yeah. That's a long way to say, yeah, these games are totally coming to the Nintendo platform. I mean, they already have, you know, we already have Minecraft Steve on Switch, and we already have the Ori games, which run fantastic on the Switch. Mm-hmm. So the dam's already been broken, at least on the Nintendo side, you know.
Yeah,
it's true. It's true. And that is kind of a maverick perspective for console gaming. I love what you said, Gene, about, you know, comparing it to PC gaming, where it's like, you know, it's much more blue sky, and console gaming is about not blurring the line between things. It's about celebrating the differences, the exclusives, all that kind of thing. Mm. And maybe you could set the needle back and sort of start over or get more competitive if you're losing footing with each new console generation. But until then, you got to play the game, you know, like Xbox. So this is a move that the more I hear you guys talk about it, I think you guys have the right attitude. You know, for me, it's like, I'm a console gamer. I don't want to blur the line. Like, I love the differences. Like, I want to celebrate those differences. I like the competition because I feel like it makes everybody stronger and makes them gravitate towards what they're good at. But I kind of like what you guys are saying too, your perspective of kind of everything everywhere for everybody and how cool that could be. You know, I never really thought about it that way before. I think I've been so stuck in my ways as a console gamer and a very new PC gamer. I just started playing games seriously on PC a year ago, you know? So yeah, that's, guys are making me think here.
I feel like to clarify a little bit, I think that exclusives are the way of the business in a lot of ways. And you talk about Nintendo. I mean, that's, yeah, they fully well know how powerful their IPs are and their staying power, their games. That's why if you want to go buy Mario Kart 8 Deluxe right now, it'll cost you $60, the same price of when it came out. And so, yeah, they're going to hold on to that with an iron grip. I think when it comes to Xbox and PlayStation, we've even seen PlayStation do this, where I understand exclusives. I think they make sense. And I think you're right, Dagan, that they do cause, good competition for it's like, hey, we're going to make awesome games. We want to make sure the best games that we can make are exclusive. But I like this idea that it eventually can go somewhere else. And we've seen PlayStation do that, open up with PC a little bit, where it's like, yeah, well, eventually this game comes to PC. Right now, they just announced Horizon Forbidden West is coming to PC in a little bit.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
So yeah, it's I like that. And I think that it makes sense that PlayStation would never want to put their games on Xbox just because they are in the leading position. But like Gene was saying, it's like Xbox isn't necessarily interested in being an exclusive box and a platform that, maybe they... Well, this is kind of the big question that I have in talking in this whole thing, is that they are making some specific decisions about what games they want to push over to Switch, right? But what is the limit of that, and where are they going to go? And maybe it's kind of a wait and see approach, because I think of a situation where it's like you can play the Master Chief Collection on Switch.
Dude, if they came out with a Switch edition of Halo, even if it's like not even the OLED version, if it's the basic 2017 version, but it was the Halo edition with Halo Joy-Cons and a Halo dock and a Halo box, I'd buy that shit for $300 all over again. You know, no problem.
And you guys, you're not even thinking of the most important game that Microsoft has, which is Viva Pinata. How awesome would that be over on Switch? Yeah. I fucking love Viva Pinata. I've been waiting years for a new one. All right. That would make an excellent home over on Switch. Like, just picture that Viva Pinata edition Switch. Think of what they could do with that. Think of everybody who's gonna love it.
I mean, they even had a show for it too, right?
They did. That show was on, when I was, I don't know if we were kids for that, Dustin. Do you remember the Viva Pinata TV show? I remember it being on, but I can't remember how old I was.
Yeah, I feel like I vaguely remember that. I was a little late to Viva Pinata, and I only played the first one. I remember being I loved it because I loved the style and the aesthetic. And I loved how cute the pinatas were. But I remember being so frustrated because that fucker would come and kill my pinata.
Oh,
I'd be so mad.
Yeah. He was the worst. You just hit him with a stick and you're like, get out of here. Get out of my garden. That was great. I want a new one of those so bad.
The sequel is Trouble in Paradise, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I heard that one's a lot better.
I did hear that one's better, but I didn't play it. Yeah.
You know, the pros and cons. I like the first one, I think, a little bit better, but they're both good for different reasons, is what I want to say.
Right.
But I've just been dying for them to make a new one. And imagining that being on Switch, it would be incredible.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of potential for these things. And I even think about, I guess this kind of outside the realm of Nintendo, most likely, unless we're talking the power of Switch 2. But I think it would be wise with both Microsoft and Sony really wanting to be in the live service race. It's like, okay, make those games everywhere. Dude, I'm at the point where I'm like, put Halo Infinite. If this is the live service game that you really want to push, put it on, maybe since the next Switch, and put it on PlayStation. And I think that PlayStation's live service games, like, you really want those to be successful too, put those on Xbox, put them on PC, put them everywhere, because a lot of those games, like, something like Fortnite or Apex Legends or whatever, thrive on being so available wherever you want to go play them. They're there because an Xbox player or a phone player or a PC player, all their money is just as green as someone else. So give them a chance to buy the freaking battle pass or whatever. Why not? That's the whole point.
Apex Legends on the Switch too,
Yeah.
And so unless that's one more point about exclusives.
Yeah, good.
That's the thing about Nintendo. When you look at Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft, Nintendo's the only one that's not struggling with exclusives. Because let's be real, the PS5 has been struggling with exclusives this generation. It kind of has. There's Returnal, there's Demon Souls, Ratchet and Clank, blah. And so Final Fantasy 16, great.
Remake or Rebirth coming up.
Yeah. But so that's why, like, that's the kind of third-party exclusive PlayStation used to be so good at. And that's the kind of third-party exclusive that helped build PS1 and PS2. Grand Theft Auto 3, remember, was a PlayStation 2 exclusive for the longest time. But we're not in that environment anymore. PlayStation just can't rely on third-party games to. Well, they are, I guess, right? The PlayStation has been relying on third-party games, and they're selling great. But we'll see for the next generation. But then, forget sales, forget everything. When you really, really care about what the first-party output is for each of these platforms, I feel like if you're an Xbox or PlayStation fan, as I have been, the Xbox and PlayStation fan in me has been disappointed in both of them. Whereas for Nintendo, they killed it on the Switch. They honestly killed it on the Wii U. The games were so good they re-released them on the Switch.
That's true.
So that's my perspective. I just think that Nintendo is the only one that's winning the exclusives game, and it's funny that more people don't just say that out loud.
Yeah. Absolutely. They
They're killing it.
man, yeah, we talked about this at the end of last year when we did our memoriam on or whatever on Switch, and they just killed it. They like totally turned things around from the Wii U and made it be like, yeah, these games, they're available here. You buy this console, you love these IP, you go to the theme park, you watch the movie, you buy the stupid shirt for your kid, whatever. It's like they've got, it's all of that circular, like all of these things feed into that central
buy the
business.
Lego set, watch the movie,
yeah,
eat the cereal. Remember the Nintendo Power cereal, Dagan?
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
They had the Mario side and the Zelda side.
Hell yeah.
You know? I think the Mario side was a fruitier side. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. What was the Zelda? Peanut butter?
I forget. I don't know.
Like that. Yeah.
I wasn't a Zelda kid back then.
Moving on to number 2, which is not super long, but interesting nonetheless. 2024 is the 30th anniversary of Earthbound, or Mother 2, of course, in Japan. And Nintendo is planning to celebrate the official Mother Twitter page. This is translation through Twitter, so it seems all right, though. It says, Happy New Year! 2024 marks the 30th anniversary of the release of Mother 2. We are preparing various plans, so let's celebrate together. Nice to meet you. I don't know if that's like trying to be quirky, like Earthbound writing, or if that's the actual translation, but I just went with it. So
I love it.
I'll tell you what I think about this, guys. This initially sounds exciting. It's like, oh, there's some acknowledgement. When I was in Japan, there was a Mother pop-up store at a department store. Bought some stuff there because Holly loves Earthbound. You know what this little tweet tells me? We ain't getting shit for a new game.
You think? No, really?
No, I think that if they had a new Mother game, they know how that community would freak the fuck out. That if you would see that on a Nintendo Direct, Nintendo loves that kind of stuff. They invite, hell, come to the Nintendo store, and then we know everyone's going to film it. It'll be the viral thing. People freaking out. I think that this is them setting the expectation. It's like, hey, we're going to celebrate, but we're not going to make it a surprise. I don't know. Do you think we've gotten Mother 1 and Mother 2 Earthbound ports and in English translations? Mother 3, though, no official translation. Do you think that it's time that, Reggie Fils-Aimé, R.I.P., not really, he's not dead, but during his time as Nintendo president was always asked about Mother 3.
He dealt with all that. He was the guy that had to deal with all that kind of stuff in his era. Yeah, you know what, dude? I read this as they're setting the table for some sort of Mario 35 / F-Zero 99 Earthbound light treatment to assess Western taste for whether they want an Earthbound remake. Let me tell you why an Earthbound remake makes sense, though, like a complete Earthbound remaster. First, to like introduce it to probably multiple generations of players. It is, Holly's absolutely correct. It's a great game, but Earthbound, something people might not realize is Earthbound was sort of graphically and visually stunted at the time it came out. Like, it was unimpressive in the early to mid 90s. You had Secret of Mana and Chrono Trigger blew it away in a visually presentation, in those terms, in graphical terms. So it really kind of could use a graphical overhaul and some sharpening and some sweetening and all that kind of stuff. I think it would be really cool. And I think it would be a great way to introduce people to, for me, one of the essential RPGs. Like, such a good game, so innovative, so creative, very funny, and really has a flavor all its own. It's not the typical JRPG. It's very different. It has that kind of West cross East feel to it. It has the best of both worlds, in other words. So I think it makes sense. And I would love to see them just put out a little F-Zero 99 type thing and just kind of gauge interest that way without having to invest in, we're going to create this thing and it's going to be Earthbound all over again, where people just don't notice it, the weird marketing campaign and the scratch and sniff stickers and like just selling it the wrong way. I don't think they want to repeat, so they'll be very careful. But I would love to see them try, especially now, just to be a little more emboldened with all the power that they have and their bottom line looking so good. why not take a shot?
Yeah. Well, and I think that another aspect is that we've talked about, again, at the end of last year, about Nintendo views the Switch as the thing that takes their old IP and makes them mainstream. Pikmin 4 sold more than every previous Pikmin game combined.
There you go.
So, Mike, I don't know what your experience is with Earthbound, but I guess there could be an angle there where it's like, well, we have this platform, and soon to be another, I assume, let's say Switch 2 is also really successful, that they could take that hardcore audience and make them the evangelists of a new game in the Earthbound series, or even just release a Mother 3. So I don't know. Micah, have you played these games? I know you love RPGs and stuff, but...
So I tried to play Earthbound on the SNES, classic, because I had one of those.
That's right.
And I liked it a lot until I got to the section where, because I'm just trying to remember, it's been several years. I got to the section where everything's like random, essentially. Like the town, it's like you're like the upside down of Stranger Things, and like the town behaves weirdly. So like you try and go one direction, and it's kind of just like randomized where you end up.
Oh, I think.
And I remember
Threed, the town of Threed, the third town.
I think
maybe.
so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just got so frustrated at that point, even with the features of like, oh, you can rewind and stuff, because it's like I ran out of items, like I can't heal anymore. I just remember being like, I've had enough. Like, this was cool to experience, but this game was so obtuse and difficult that I was like, I think I've had enough of it.
It's unconventional, yeah.
Yeah,
No, I get
and
that.
I liked it a lot. I'm still disappointed with myself for not persevering, but I really did just spend hours on that, and I was like, I could have been playing anything else and actually made progress in these 2 hours.
For older games, I
just
would just
being
look up a
stuck
guide.
here.
I think for older games, just using a guide it's fine.
Yeah, I'm more open to that now. At the time, though, I really just wanted to figure it out.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't. These days, yes, I will use a guide just much more willingly, because it's like, I spend 10 minutes on a puzzle. I've had enough of it. Like, just get me to the next section, right? But I really don't know what to expect from Nintendo in regards to this, because it's like they could be like, we're going to celebrate the 30th anniversary. Here's some wallpapers for your phone you can spend your platinum points on. Like, here's a plushie. We made 100 of them for everybody in the world. Like
the cold shoulder, like they normally do with.
You're right. Like the reality of what I expect from Nintendo is that it's going to be something that's extremely limited. It's not going to meet demand, or it's going to be way under what people are expecting of like, okay, well, we made you some phone wallpapers, and here's some paper crafts you can print out from your computer, and it's like, and happy 30th anniversary, and maybe that's all it'll be. So I don't want to get my hopes up, because I am interested in maybe revisiting this at some point, but I don't want to get my hopes up at all for what I actually expect from Nintendo. I just feel like this is something that people are going to be so excited for, and Nintendo could just fumble it so easily.
Yeah, they're getting their hopes up, maybe artificially. It's kind of mean. I kind of, it's so bad of me to say this, but I kind of want it to be this anticlimactic thing, because it just continues that energy of just dissing this IP. And there's a lot. I mean, it's a cultish following, but there's a lot of dedicated fans, to this, to the mother games, but especially Earthbound.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder too about how popular it is in Japan in particular, because, like I said, there was the pop-up store there, so obviously there's something going on. But Gene, the thing I wanted to ask you about is that I feel that Nintendo somewhat wants to respect the heritage of Mother, and part of this celebration is that they released a video on their, I believe, just on the Japanese YouTube channel, maybe on both, but it's an interview with both the creator and what's his name again?
Shigesato Itoi.
Yes, Shigesato Itoi and Miyamoto. Yeah, talking about the game. I haven't got to check out that interview yet. So I've always felt that Nintendo, the clear sign here, the proof in the pudding of why Nintendo won't touch Mother is because Nintendo is so happy with everything to protect their IP. But there's one thing that they've never gone after, and that's the Mother 3 translation project. Right. They've never gone after them. They've let them exist. They haven't said anything. They haven't done anything. And I don't, maybe this isn't as galaxy brain thinking as I think it is, because maybe what they're doing is totally legal, but that hasn't stopped Nintendo before from trying to stop somebody. And I feel like this is kind of the sign that they're just like, yeah, it's fine. Go ahead, because I've never played Mother 3, but to my understanding, some of the content, while it's not like adult stuff that Nintendo doesn't necessarily want to touch, like I think there's like either child abuse or animal abuse in it or something like that it's just not quite in their realm anymore, and maybe never was, at least for a Western audience. So do you think that that's a sign that Nintendo's like, we like it, but not that much, you know?
Yeah, I think they have a lot of respect and admiration for Ito. And yeah, maybe it's just super popular in Japan. To Dakin's point, gosh, when Earthbound came out, and it was called Earthbound in the US, it was never Mother 2, right? So I've always known it as Earthbound, right? With the scratch and sniff print ads. If any of you remember, Earthbound used to have scratch and sniff print ads where you literally just scratch and sniff and it smells like shit. But and it just made your magazine smell like shit. But it was really, really weird. Earthbound and Mother is basically the first game of like the Undertale era. It's the game that inspired all of these the anti-graphics movement in like especially the RPG space, you know. And it's the first game to really inspire like quirky RPGs, you know. I mean, Persona was already existed before that, but I mean, Earthbound really kind of blew the door open for that. So I don't know. I honestly have continued to be perplexed with Nintendo's positioning on Mother. In the same way that I guess Mother is a Nintendo's Bloodborne. You know, it's in that like, hey, you guys, they're like we all love this so much, you guys. What is going on? Why don't you make anything about this? And yeah, so I'm looking at that Mother Twitter account, and it's like clearly they celebrate Mother very happily and openly in Japan. You know, with all of these cool stores and setup and everything like that. So yeah, I don't know. It's just something about bringing it to the States. And yeah, I always wondered about the Mother Dream fan translation. That's a question that I always had and never bothered to answer. Maybe I looked it up. Like, why is it? Why didn't Nintendo leave them alone for this whole time?
Yeah, they really did. You know? And it is uncharacteristic. You know what the other thing is, guys, that I just remembered? We played Earthbound for Knockback a few years ago, but it's been a while. There's also something problematic in that game where it's extremely referential of actual popular music. Like it's chiptunes versions of obvious top 40 songs, like American top 40 songs that could get Nintendo into pretty intense copyright work. I mean, it's like, oh, that's Huey Lewis in the News. That's this, that's that. Like it sounds like a chiptunes version of actual music. Like they didn't even try to make their own versions. So there's a lot of that. It's rampant in that game. And that could be another thing now. That could be an opportunity for a remaster to address that, you know, and put some original music in there. I don't know if Itoy is still alive. He wasn't an old man or anything like that. He was like a big writer, tastemaker, satirist type guy in Japan that did a lot of other things besides video games. But that's what makes that game so quirky, is that it's designed largely by this guy, besides Miyamoto, that really didn't just do video games. He did a lot of things. He was a writer. He was just a creative dude. He was on Iron Chef and stuff like that. Dude was so strange. But that's one of the reasons I want people to see it, because it's a really weird game, especially for a Nintendo game. You know, a Nintendo IP.
Yeah, he. I just looked up. He is 75 years young.
Okay, so he's
right now. So
still cooking though. He's not dead.
He's not dead. Okay. And he did that interview with Miyamoto. They just released, so he's alive enough to do that.
Oh, I didn't even know about that. I got to look at that.
It wasn't a Ouija board interview.
No. Yeah, he was alive and in person.
He is weird enough.
So yeah, we'll have to see what this month holds with the anniversary of Earthbound. Maybe not this month, but this year. Maybe we will see something. But I would prepare for disappointment. So I still need to play the Mother 3 fan translation. I've never finished Mother 2, or Earthbound, I get. It's funny, dude. I like what the series.
You never finished Mother 2?
No.
Okay. It's a long game, and like
is
Mike
a long
said, there's a
game.
lot of weird shit that you need to go through for sure. So
I think I
it's long.
absorbed most of it through Holly playing it, and I knew about the ending and stuff. Which, dude, the ending of this game is insane. It is legitimately one of the most insane endings of any game ever. Probably,
It's crazy.
I consider it. I long consider it the best ending in a video game ever. I don't know if I call it that now, but the concept of it, and spoiler alert, I guess, but like not story spoiler alert, but I guess gameplay alert. But you do get to play the ending.
Yeah.
And I love that. Any game where you actually get to continue playing the game during the ending, like I love that. And I feel like Earthbound was the first game that did that for me.
I think it was. Yeah.
But yeah, ending was amazing, unforgettable.
Yeah, so
I
good.
loved the ending. God. I would play the game just to get to the ending.
The ending's so good. The final boss fight's amazing. Like
Final boss fight. Oh my god.
The payoff is
Nightmare
really
fuel.
good.
What a concept.
Nightmare fuel.
Yeah, the final boss itself, who it is, the setting of it all, the music, how you beat the final boss is just incredible stuff.
It really is. Special.
guys, let's get into what we've been playing. I'll just kick us off because I really haven't been playing. Oh, I have been playing a decent amount, but not a ton of variety. The main thing I've been playing is Final Fantasy VII Remake, not available on Switch, but been playing the PS5 version, and it's been awesome coming back to this game.
Is this your first time back to the PS5 version?
I played it twice on PS4. And this is my first time playing it on the newer PS5.
So this is your first time in the high res and 60 FPS, and with the new textures. The door is fixed, right?
The door, yeah, that fucking door, the broken texture on the door. Dag, I don't know if you know about this. There's in Midgar in the slums, like where there the bar is and stuff. You have this apartment that Cloud has, and on the PS4 version and PS4 Pro, there is this super low res door. Like it looked so bad.
You have to walk past the door. Like it's a requirement in the game to walk past this door, so nobody misses this door. And the texture is so bad on this door.
That's hilarious.
If you know what you're looking for, you're gonna notice it immediately. And it's just like, oh my god, how did this door pass anything? And they never fixed it. And it just turns out that I guess the PS4 can't run the door, so the PS5 did. Yeah.
They needed the power of the PlayStation 5.
The PS5,
That's hilarious.
To fix the door.
Well, yeah, PS5 version. What do you think?
PS5 version is amazing. It plays so smooth. And I think it's visually just the combination of not just the performance, but the performance and the art direction of this game. The way that it's like kind of foggy at points, the way the lighting. This game is incredible on so many levels. I think that some of my same criticisms are still valid, where I'm at the point right now where I'm still very early on. I don't even consider this spoilers, where I'm under the plate and I'm going on the second mission to the reactor. And there's a lot of parts where you're kind of just in a slightly convoluted maze, and they're like, you got to turn the power on and do all these little things, and you go through and fight guys. It's like there's a couple moments in this game that I think are strikingly boring.
Pure padding,
yeah, filler. But there's a one later on in a sewer that you got to go through that's just annoying. It's so annoying.
That's after Cornelia or whatever, right?
Right.
You have to chase that guy. Oh my god, dude.
So yeah, this game, it's weird. It sits in a line where I think, man, this game is amazing. I love it. Some of this filler, it's a bit much. Hopefully they fix that in Rebirth, but I'm totally on Blackout for Rebirth. It's close enough now. Playing now, I don't want it to play back to back, like go right from Remake to Rebirth. I like to have a little bit of time in between so you don't kind of get like burnt out on the format. So it's been nice playing that. But what else we got here? Digging, let's go to you. Playing some Link's Awakening.
Yeah, man. This was unexpected.
Okay.
This was an unexpected one. You guys know I talked about, as we closed out the year, I had lofty goals, not just for Switch, but just for my gaming backlog in general. And then I made the mistake. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't a mistake, but looking at sort of reflecting back on the Switch, like, what did I miss? What have I barely touched? And Link's Awakening popped up. I was flipping through my carts. I think my carts are back there in the background. My physical editions. And I was like, oh shit. I bought this in 2019, played it for like an hour, and then just put it on the shelf. And there's something really special. I mean, give me what I call Ghibli Zelda, breath, tears. That's awesome. But Gene and I were just talking about this on Constellation a little bit. Mm-hmm. I love my cartoony Zelda. I love Link to the Past. I love Wind Waker, but I really, really love Link to the Past. And Link's Awakening, I forgot, especially the remake, the non-Game Boy version, the 2019 version, is really an extension of Link to the Past. It's like, even if you look at when those originals came out, it was 91 and 93. It's like, it's just a continuation of the same energy. It's cute, it's cartoony, it's pretty deep, it's somewhat difficult, it's pretty long, it's kind of demanding of your time, but it's so, it's just such a delightful game. There's something so charming about it, and it's fun. So I just ended up spending all my time with it. And just something about the imagery. It just reminds me of being a kid again, like that giant egg sitting on the mountaintop. There's just something cool about old Zelda. So I ended up spending my entire break playing Link's Awakening, and then looking through my backlog further of games I enjoyed, but just kind of had a brief flirtation with and put back on the shelf. I remembered Metroid Dread and really loving it, but literally playing it for like 2 nights. And I just love that game. It really took me back to Super Metroid, that sort of space or horror atmosphere. And Metroid Dread was cool because Metroid Dread was maybe the scariest 2D Metroid for me because of the chase elements. There's a little bit of stealth. There's a little bit of hiding. It really embraced the horror side and the tension of what Metroid could be. So literally not just Nintendo or otherwise. These are the only 2 games I really played over the break. But it was kind of fun to just play games without, they don't need to talk about them. We're not doing a show. Just sit back and enjoy 2 games that I just largely, forgot about briefly. So it was a good time.
Nice. Yeah, the horror elements, being chased in games is like insanely anxiety inducing for me.
So good.
Yeah.
Which is why, dude, Resident Evil 7 and 8 in VR.
Oh, I couldn't even handle that.
No, I can't.
VR,
I can't
no
be.
way.
It's hard enough to be chased in a game on a flat screen, let alone in VR being chased around. No, thank you. I am good with that. But
that's horrifying.
Let's see, Micah, Yakuza 7, diving back in. So wait, 7 is, which one is that?
That's the turn-based one that came out a couple of years ago.
Okay, yeah, that's this like soft reboot. Okay, nice. How's that going?
Yeah,
it's been great.
Have you never played that, Dustin?
I started it. I've started 2 Yakuza games now and never finished them.
Oh man,
Dustin.
I feel really bad about it.
You should,
legitimately.
and you should.
Oh, I want to hear Micah talk all about Like a Dragon, please.
Oh no, I'm loving it.
I'm so excited.
Now, first things first. I somehow own 2 copies of this game, and I genuinely don't remember how that happened. I have the special edition for PlayStation that was done by, I think, Pix and Love. And then I was like, oh, that's weird. I thought I had this on Xbox. And then as I'm going through my box of games that I still haven't unpacked since I moved here, I was like, oh, here it is. I do have it on Xbox. So I don't know why I bought 2 copies of it. I don't know what happened, but I'm playing it over on Xbox. This is a game I was really excited for because I love the Yakuza series, but I didn't watch much gameplay of it because I don't like to have... I just really like games to be a surprise. I'm not worried about story spoilers even so much as like I feel like game trailers show way too much. Like just I want to experience things like fresh. So I wasn't sure how they were going to implement the turn-based combat in a game like this because I genuinely just hadn't watched any gameplay of it. And it's fantastic. I mean, I am someone who like adores the Yakuza games and said, I don't know how they're going to make this still so crazy and engaging, if it's turn-based. And I'm a big fan of turn-based games. I just didn't know how it would work for this specific, storyline, right? And it's incredible. It's so much fun. I might be like a quarter of the way through the game. I haven't been able to spend as much time with it as I'd like, because coming back from holiday break, yeah, it's a long game, but also like coming back from our holiday break, just being very busy getting back to the merch orders and, getting shows scheduled again, despite the fact that I haven't been on shows until this one. So I've been pretty busy getting other things lined up. But it's incredible. The story is great. Playing with the Japanese voices, of course, fantastic voice acting. So I'm having a fantastic time with it. I definitely recommend this. I mean, this is a game you could play without experiencing the other ones in the series. I still would start with the older games, of which I have not played all of them. But I think you could just easily start here if you're curious. And if you're more into turn-based games than the sort of like real-time like action combat, I mean, it's a ton of fun. The way that they implement it is cool. So I'm really enjoying the experience. I'm definitely going to be playing more of that. The other game I've been working on is Dave the Diver, which, we talked a couple months ago. I had loved the demo, like completely over the moon for the demo of that game. And then it came out 2 days before my wedding. So I didn't get to play it at all until the holiday break. And there's so much more to it than the demo lets on, because the demo itself was fun, engaging. I was totally hooked. And then the actual game is just way more involved than I expected. Because once again, I really didn't look into the game much. I wanted it to be a surprise. And there's just, I'm not going to give much away, but just there's way more, side quests and missions and things than I expected based on what you do in the demo. Like the way the demo plays out seems very much like, okay, you go fishing and then you run your restaurant. And there's way more. So I am totally hooked on Dave the Diver, loving that experience. And that's one I definitely recommend to anybody to try. Super, easy game to just pick up, play for 10 minutes, almost like you could treat it like Animal Crossing if you wanted to, of like, it'll take you some time, but that's a game you could get through playing 10, 15 minutes at a time and just really enjoying the way the gameplay loops around. But that's one that has just really gotten my attention. And I have found myself staying up until like 4 a.m. playing it. So it's got me hooked for sure.
Wow.
I heard about that it has an addictive quality. It's one of those games.
It's so good. Yeah.
Yeah. That's on. And so you're playing that on Switch, right?
Yes.
Because I know it's on PC as well.
Right.
I
don't think it's come to other consoles yet. I'm really hoping they put it on PlayStation because I want Colin to play it, and I know you won't play it otherwise. But it's just so good, man.
Yeah,
I'm really enjoying it.
Nice. Yeah, I've been meaning to check that out. I've always heard. I think Ben loved that game a lot as well. So, Gene, you are last but certainly not least with really a plethora of games here. So take it any way you like.
Yeah, I'm playing a lot right now. Probably the only one playing new games. So I'm playing the Prince of Persia, the new one. So that's exciting. I'm playing that on the Switch actually. And if you guys didn't see that, they put out a performance update for the Prince of Persia game, and it's basically 60 FPS on the Switch and 120 FPS on the PS5 and the Xbox Series.
Oh wow,
nice.
So they clearly targeted the Switch as like the base platform, and then just built up from there, which is fun. So there's that. I have also been playing Last of Us Part 2 Remastered, including the new roguelike mode. So I may have more to talk about that in the future, but it's Last of Us 2. Do you guys see that they just confirmed who Abby will be in the HBO show?
No.
Yeah, I saw that come up. I didn't know who it was, though.
Yeah, Caitlin Daver or whatever.
Yeah.
She's very pretty. I'm glad that they're acknowledging that Abby is actually a very pretty girl. I think Abby was actually very attractive, to be quite honest. I'm not even into muscly girls either. I'm just I just thought like, hey, Abby's pretty cute, guys. I don't know, despite the whole murderous intent and everything.
Hey, I mean, at the end of the day, whatever, right?
Could work, yeah.
Could work. You can make it. I can change her. I can change Abby.
Yeah. I've also been playing Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, the sequel to Yakuza 7. So now the Yakuza series has basically completely rebranded to Like a Dragon. It's no longer called Yakuza anymore. So
I love that name.
Like a
I'm
Dragon.
glad they switched over because
It's
I
cool.
think
It's cool. It's gonna take. It's been like 18 years of me calling it the Yakuza series, so it's gonna take some time for me to train out of. But like Sega actually had to correct me. They're saying actually it's not the Yakuza series anymore. It's the Like a Dragon series. I'm like, yeah, you're right though. You know, and I support the decision. It's a cool name. It was always been the series name this whole time. Yakuza was just the American imported name for it. So I've been playing that. It all takes place in Honolulu, Hawaii, which is incredible. I can talk a little bit about it because there's a demo available when you beat Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his name. Your reward is a long demo of Yakuza or Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, and the entire thing takes place in Hawaii. So it's crazy for me to play a Yakuza game, and I'm gonna be like, that's my apartment right there, the last apartment that I lived in before I moved to DC. That's where I had my first date with so and so. It's crazy to
cool.
play. Dagan, have you ever played Like a Dragon, or do you know what Like a Dragon Yakuza
never.
is?
Nope.
I think you're an old school JRPG fan, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're well acclimated to Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest. If you don't know, Dagan, like a Dragon Yakuza, the one Mike is playing right now, the prequel, the one that came out in 2019, it's about a former reformed Yakuza who is a huge Dragon Quest fan.
That's in the game?
That's in the game. He says,
wow.
The one of the first things he says is, I love the video game Dragon Quest, and I always imagine myself being in Dragon Quest Adventure. So when all of the trials and tribulations start happening in the story against him, he's like, this is my moment. I see myself as a Dragon Quest protagonist. He specifically, that's what Like a Dragon also means, Dagan, Like a Dragon Quest. Right?
What? I never knew any of. Oh, I gotta play it. It was already sounding good when Mike was talking about it.
Yeah. So he finds a bat in the ground, and then he starts thinking to himself, "Oh, this is my sword in the stone," right? And then he picks it up, and then the game officially becomes a Dragon Quest game. And so, if you don't know, it's a turn-based traditional JRPG with items.
Cool.
You go to the liquor store to get your health items and your potions and your stat boosts. Your stat heals, anything that cures sleep,
it's brilliant. That's brilliant.
You got MP, you got your HP, you got your very, very traditional armor for your feet and your head and your chest. But it just happens to star a bunch of 40 unemployed, homeless, 45-year-old people. So Dagan, I really let me be Colin at this moment. And I was like, Dagan, I really want you to play this game.
I love it.
Yeah,
I cannot not play this game. I have to now.
You have to. I would love a knockback with Dagan on Yakuza 7, Like a Dragon, with Micah, of course, too.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, because one of my favorite things actually is when someone joins your party and like the little jingle that it plays, and it is just very old school, and I'm like, this is so charming. The mix of old and new that they've put in. I can't recommend it enough. That's but so cool. if you want to get into the series like from the beginning, I would recommend starting with 0. I don't know how you feel about that, Gene. But like that's where I started. It made the most sense. And then the other games were more impactful, in my opinion, starting from there. But this is one you could start with just like from 7, because it's a whole new story.
That's a great thing about this series. I agree that 0 will obviously be the ideal start, right? It's like starting The Hobbit before The Lord of the Rings. But I think this is the Lord of the Rings of the Yakuza series. I think it's meant to be a universe reset. You can go into this game, because most of the game doesn't refer to it'll refer to the past games as like a legacy, like, oh, remember the before times, even though it was like 5 years ago,
right?
But
like there's things that they reference.
They refer to the before times of 5 years ago when the Yakuza was prominent, and like that's the ancient history or whatever. That's like the background lore of the story. Whereas a Yakuza 0 through 6 is the entire lore of like the Yakuza legend and everything like that. Okay. But yeah, I must implore you. I think you're gonna love this game. This is exactly your type of game. It's very, very easy to understand. And yeah, again, it's Dragon Quest with a bunch of 40-something-year-old unemployed homeless people. Micah said that the people join your party and you get a little cute 8-bit like jingle that celebrates like a new party member. The first party member you get is a homeless guy, you know?
Yeah.
So cool.
And then it plays that jingle, which is incredible. It's so fun. So I've been playing Infinite Wealth, continuing that experience. I've been having well, I don't know if I can say anything, but I've been having a time. So
I think I've played a lot of Zero and I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm trying to be realistic, because these games are really long.
They're long,
Yeah.
I think maybe I'm just going to go. I have Like a Dragon on PS5.
Yes.
I have the Steelbook.
Start with
I'm
7.
ready to go. I started it.
7.
I think I'm just going to do that because especially, dude, okay, here's the thing. I know I'm probably annoying at this point. I always bring up my trip to Japan. It's relevant though. So when I was in Japan, I thought, man, if I had played Yakuza, I think I would be like the most annoying white person here right now. I'd just be like, oh, Don Quixote, it's this thing, you know? And so now if I play Yakuza 7, I feel like I can be that same annoying white person, but in the privacy of my own home. Be like, Holly, look, we saw that. It just like, it's a 7-Eleven. Look at it. You know what I mean? Like, I think, so that's irrelevant to my interests.
Embrace the gaijin, Dust. Embrace it.
Yeah.
It's a very weeby game. And I've been telling people for years, which is why I was so happy to see. And I'm sorry, this is a Nintendo podcast. We're not talking about Nintendo. I wish the fucking Yakuza games would show up on the Nintendo Switch. That's another fucking mystery. I have no idea why they're not on the Switch. They could all run on the Switch, no problem.
That's weird.
But what was I going to say? I totally forgot. Anyways.
Damn it. Yeah, we were saying...
Oh yeah. No, I've been saying for years that the Yakuza series is a JRPG series. It's not a Grand Theft Auto series. It's not a crime. It's not a crime game. It is very much a JRPG. It has been an action JRPG, and now it's just a traditional JRPG, which is incredible. And the great thing about Infinite Wealth, Dagan, is that the series character Kiryu has always been the action character, but now he's a party member in Infinite Wealth. But the cool thing is that his limit break, right? In Final Fantasy, his heat move, his super move in Infinite Wealth is that the game stops being a turn-based game and it turns into a traditional action game. So all the menus of like the items and fight and everything that break apart, and the game just turns into an action game, and you're just pressing square to punch and
that is fantastic.
Yeah, and he hits really fucking hard when he does that.
Dude, that is this conceptually, this game sounds off the charts. Like, this sounds amazingly creative. Yeah, so cool. So I've been playing that, and for some reason I've been playing all the Metal Gear games. I did buy the Metal Gear collection on the Switch. Awful ports. So many audio glitches in the first Metal Gear game. Sucks. Dude, the introductory movie is all skipping. I'm just like, this is unacceptable. I can't watch it like this. This is unacceptable. That's a shame. So I just bought them on PC and I bought them on PS5, and I've been playing that. But then I got stuck on playing Metal Gear 5, which is funny because Summon Sign. I saw Chris for Summon Sign, our new show with Bradley Ellis. Check it out on patreon.com. Chris Reagan was playing all the Metal Gear games, where he was playing Metal Gear 5. I'm like, dude, I just played 120 hours of Metal Gear 5. Let's talk about it. Oh my God. Hell yeah. But yeah, that's what I've been playing. I did say on my last Punching Up appearance that I was going to try to finish Persona 5. Did not touch Persona 5 at all. So, Dustin, don't feel. I would never guilt you into starting Yakuza Like a Dragon and not finishing it, because I've been playing Persona 5 for the last 8 years, man. So.
Yeah, no, dude, I get it. These games are just very long.
These games are fucking long, man. And the old Yakuza games are not that long, but from Like a Dragon on, they're becoming Persona length. So
the new when does Infinite Wealth come out? Like pretty soon. 26. Dang. Okay.
Oh, that's pretty soon. Away. Pretty soon.
Oh, Gene, you mentioned Metal Gear. The other day I had some friends over. About 3 months ago, we started playing Eternal Darkness on GameCube together. We got about halfway through the game, and then we saved, and we hadn't got together to play it again for 3 months. When we got back on, we realized we had a game-breaking bug in Eternal Darkness. We're like, we're not restarting. Long wind up. I had to put that out there in the air and let people know. Watch out for the stupid. There's a stupid door. If you do things out of order, it will not open. It just will not open on Eternal Darkness. Do you know what I'm talking about, Gene?
I think I remember that too. And
yeah,
it sucks. It sucks when like a sequence break like fucks up your game. You know?
Oh yeah,
that's so
yeah. I was like,
that happened to me actually in Alan Wake 2, actually.
As
recently as Alan Wake 2, where I was trying to talk to Rose about something. I was trying to get something for her, but it's like I was skipping ahead a few steps. But it's like I already knew what to do, which is annoying, you know.
Yeah.
And then I was just stuck, and I had to like reload the save because I skipped ahead. I was just so annoying.
Oh, man.
So after that didn't work out, I popped in the Twin Snakes on GameCube, and either I'm just out of. I played through 1 through 4 of Metal Gear last year, but so maybe I'm out of the zone now. Is that game way harder? Because I noticed that, first of all, enemies saw me from way further away, and then they put the tranquilizer gun in the very first section, and I don't remember that being the case. Do you remember that?
For Twin Snakes? Yeah, I think. Yeah, the tranq gun was a new thing, so they were like,
so they put it. Yeah, that makes sense.
Because they're like, oh, you played MGS2, didn't you? So now here it is in MGS1, you know, with all these kooky cutscenes. I have funny, weird feelings about Twin Snakes. I just hate the fact that they fucking re-recorded the dialogue. That's all.
Right.
That's all.
I've heard people say that it's nice that it's a lot more like anime-esque and over the top.
Yeah.
But
it's okay.
We'll see. We'll see.
Have you never played Twin Snakes before?
No.
Oh,
I never have either.
Okay. Well, yeah, you're in for a ride then, because it's fun. The action sequences are fun. I think so. I just hate like Naomi Hunter. You know, she was like non-geographically European in the original game, and then you know Jennifer Hale. She's Jennifer Hale, and she just gets rid of her accent. I'm just like, what the fuck, you know?
Yeah, unacceptable. But yeah, so maybe I'll go back to that. Maybe not. Maybe we'll see. I'm trying to focus on remake right now, but Yakuza, maybe. We'll see.
I'm actually thinking about going back to remake as well, but then you reminding me of the shitty parts is making me pause. And you're like, you know what? Maybe my memory on remake is actually pretty good. So
yeah,
you know, I don't know.
Moving along here, Dagan, please take it. Our first big old
I love it.
Big old Dagan segment here. I was going to say a face full of Dagan, but that just felt too far. But then I said it anyway. So, Dagan, please take us away.
All right. So, you know, I just thought this is definitely, I mean, we're pretty sure by now, right? This is going to be our last year with the Switch as our primary Nintendo console. We'll still enjoy the Switch beyond this. But I thought I would just kind of take your guys' temperature, not anally.
I mean,
sorry, I don't know. My mind just goes. I don't know. And just see what your guys' Switch sort of preferences are, and just sort of profile each one of you guys as Switch users based on 5 or 6 questions. Let me see what I have here. Maybe we'll do 5 questions. Just make it a nice round number. And you know, just one by one, just answer whatever comes to mind or whatever applies. All right. So just trying to profile you guys as Switch users, what kind of Switch users you are, as somebody who's enjoyed this console for going on 7 years now. Okay, Michael, let me start with you. What button do you press 3 times? What's your button for click, click, click?
Oh, I mean, A. It's got to be A, right?
It's always A.
Well, yeah. What else would I be clicking? Like, yeah, you mean like you're like in the console, like booted up, and you're like, I'm trying to like get through like the screen, like I just want to get to the game, trying to get past all the stupid like
because you can mash it so fast.
Blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
You know what's funny about that's what gave me the idea for this whole segment, because I was like, of course it's A, everybody's going to do A, but I didn't even know if you could do the other buttons. I was like, oh, can I do the shoulder buttons? Can I do the trigger? You know, that type of thing. But I think everybody's will be A. But Gene, what about you? Are you the same? You got to mash the button 3 times. Is it A? Is that your go-to?
You got kids, so I don't have a child safety lock on my Switch.
Oh,
yeah.
You can turn that off.
Guys, Dustin, have you been pressing
Yeah,
three
you can
buttons the
turn
whole
it off.
time?
Yeah, like I didn't know there was an option to turn off the
Yes, there is
three-button click,
yes,
click, click.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was one of the first things
Are you?
one of the first
Do you
things I looked up.
mean?
I was like,
Oh.
I can't do this shit every time I turn on this fucking system.
Yeah, I don't know what. I guess I didn't know what that was. I thought you just meant like, you boot up a game and you just want to like rapidly get to like the start screen
you just get through
versus
the
like,
credits and the opening.
yeah, and I'm just like
the
hitting
intro.
A the whole time.
Yeah.
No, do you have the child safety
I
lock
didn't
on,
know.
Micah?
No, I didn't know that was a thing.
So then
that's
you would
so
have it
funny.
on. If you haven't turned it off, then it's on.
What do you mean? You turn on the console and it says press A, and that's it.
It says press A,
What?
and then it will go like you need to press it 3 times.
Yeah, you
Press
need
Yeah,
any
to-
button.
I haven't been doing that this whole time.
So you must have turned it off.
So you
then.
must have turned yours off like a long time ago and just forgot about it too.
I'm gonna guess that my ex turned it off. Yes.
Oh, there you go.
Because we used to share this console.
Oh wow!
I'm gonna.
That's
I'm
how
gonna
old the
guess
Switch
that.
is. No kidding.
Oh yeah, no, same one.
It
Same one.
predates Colin.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
2 boyfriends ago that the Switch came out.
Well,
Right?
you,
wow.
you predated your boyfriend too back then too. So sorry.
Dang.
That's
Turn of the
interesting though.
phrase there.
Dust, I didn't realize it was an option either until I had it for a couple of years. Probably.
Yeah, you can turn it
Yeah.
off. You can turn it off.
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna have to.
PSA, turn it off. It's annoying, especially if you don't have kids. And you don't have to worry about
It really is annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the best.
But
It's not the
I
best
guess
mechanic.
Dustin, what button do you press since you're the only
It's-
one who does it?
It's either A or B. It might be B because my PlayStation instincts on that being the primary button,
X. Yeah.
but it also could be A.
Yeah, B and A or
Yeah.
those are comparable. You know what's funny? I have mine still on and my kids use the OLED. Like, why do I still have mine on? I'm too lazy to shut it off. Like, they don't use this one anymore. All right, you guys, this is a big one for me. I had to kind of reflect a little bit about this too. Pick a Joy-Con color favorite. So you could pick a Joy-Con color, a single color, or a combo, a color combo, a twosome that are your favorite. For me, I have to tell you, I used to call it construction yellow because it's like the color of a bulldozer, but I like the neon yellow. I don't even care what you're pairing it with. That neon yellow just looks like, I want to put it in my mouth. It just looks like candy to me. It really does. All right, so Mike, I'll start with you again. Ladies first. What are your Joy-Con color go-tos? Or maybe one of the special, maybe you like the Fortnite set. Whatever. I don't know. Wherever you want to go.
My favorite set that I own is still the pink and green Splatoon set. My current set that I'm playing with is the new pastel ones that came out, and it's the pink and yellow pastel set,
I got that
which
too,
was
yeah.
a really tough choice because they were all so pretty.
Those are pretty.
But yeah, when it comes to the Joy-Cons, they have so many good ones, but the neon colors really do stand out. Like, they're just so bright and happy. So the pink and green is still my favorite. But right now, pink and yellow is what's actually on the Switch.
Pink, and yeah, it's a good one. Dust, what about you?
The ones that I own that I like the most are the green and pink that came out there, like watermelon almost. I like those a lot. I've thought about those pastel ones. Like, I would love to do a purple and blue Joy-Con set, but that would involve me buying the pastel set and then, I don't know, throwing away the green one, I guess.
Right.
And then the blue neon wouldn't really match it. It's kind of like too blue compared to the violet of the purple or whatever, like the lighter, more pastel version. So yeah, I would like that. But I'm just kind of, it's honest. I mean, there's been many Joy-Con variants and many colors, but the purple is lacking. I'm looking on Nintendo's site where you can create a combo, and purple is limited. The 2 types of purple they have, the neon purple and the pastel purple, are limited to the left Joy-Con. Like, you can't get them in the right Joy-Con. They've never done that. So a little annoying, but
what would Prince think? He wouldn't like that very much.
No,
he
absolutely
wouldn't.
not.
Oh, sorry, the artist formerly known.
Right.
The now dead artist formerly known as Prince that was once Prince.
Right.
R.I.P. Gene, what about you? Joy-Con color picks.
Simple. The basic red and blue that comes with the box. What's funny is that I actually never bought the basic red and blue that comes with the box. I bought the original gray version right here.
Oh, that's right. I forgot the gray.
This is literally my first Switch ever in 2017,
Same.
right? The gray version.
That's the bachelor pad Switch. I call that one.
And then so I just had to buy the red and blue one separately. So I bought 2 red ones and two blue ones. So I just have, those extra. I also had the pastel ones. I love those, and I was using those for a bit. But I always go back to the red and blue because that's the Switch colors. It just makes sense, and I love the contrast of red and blue. It's classic.
I can't argue that. It's iconic.
Yeah, very simple.
I gotta jump back in here. Sorry.
Yeah,
the Joy-Cons I always wanted are the developer black, and these aren't gray. These are like matte black, really nice. If you haven't seen an image of these,
no, I've never seen them.
I've seen those.
They are really, really clean. Let me see if I can find a picture here. It's not loading. If you search developer Switch black Joy-Cons, they are hot.
Oh, that is.
They really are cool.
Wow.
There's a site. There's a couple of good sites.
That is pretty.
Yeah, they're nice. They're not. I heard. What did I hear? I heard maybe it's Gene's original gray ones. Now this could be a total rumor. I never had those, but I heard there was no stick drift on those for some reason. Like it was a higher quality stick build.
It's the one with the reason why I have these on is because I actually want to test whether they have stick drift or not, because they usually have stick drift. But,
I did hear that. But the classic red and blue, man, they're so like, I forgot that's what we had on our older Switch, the one I'm using now, because my son had these really old, they probably circa 2017 Animal Crossing, like whole SwitchCon stickers over them, and finally took them off. And they're like the high quality stickers that don't leave like a residue. But I felt like it preserved the colors. Like the colors really popped. Like they haven't faded or anything like that. So it's kind of fortunate that we had those stickers on there. All right, guys. Now, I'd like to say I was a physical devotee, but I definitely walked the line with physical and digital on Switch. But I wanted to ask you guys, are you more physical or more just download the game right to the Switch? Dust, I'll start with you on this one because I know you're a big physical guy.
Oh, yeah.
Across the board.
Yeah, all physical except for maybe some games on sale or indies that are digital only, or if their physical is way more expensive, it's like some kind of special edition, then I say fuck it and just get the digital. But yeah, dude, for all Nintendo first party or second party, whatever, I have a giant Switch collection downstairs, all physical, the way God intended, on a cartridge. As annoying as it is, it makes it a little stressful when you travel with the Switch, because I think like, okay, I don't want to bring a few like $1,000 worth of games in case I lose this thing, but it's okay. I'm willing to take that risk.
Yeah, those are all good policies. I can't argue with any of that. And I feel like if you're going to collect physical for any one thing, it's got to be just hearkening back with the heritage and know your roots. It's got to be a Nintendo thing. I admit though, I have got impatient, or lazy, where I'm like, I'm not going to Target, like just download the fucking game, that type of thing. And I regret it, because the thing is, once I buy it digitally, I'm not going to get it physically unless it's something that I have to have. Like, this doesn't apply to the Switch, but something like Shovel Knight, the first Shovel Knight, or if I got that digitally because I just had to play it immediately, then I would go get the digital. But unless it was something that was really up on my hierarchy, I'm only going to buy it once. So I do try to stay digital. Micah, what about you? You digital, physical, combo? How you going with this?
Yeah, I'm going to buy physical games as long as they're available. I'm only buying digital games if it's the only way to get it. Like Dave the Diver, no physical release. I'll buy the digital copy. Mineko's Night Market, same deal. Vampire Survivors, like, I don't mind buying games if they're only digital, but primarily if there is a physical copy of it, I'm going to try and get that. So that's my standard thing, is like, if it's not available physical, or like Dustin said, sometimes the markup, is crazy different because maybe it's only a special edition is available for the physical game. then it really depends on how important it is to me. If I'm a big fan of the series, if it's something I'm trying for the first time, I'm less likely to buy that, and I would just get the digital one.
Sure.
Like, I'm not, completely anti-digital games. I would just rather have the cartridge. So I will buy them, though, as needed. But physical, for me, is still preferred. And some games, there is just a big benefit to digital, like visual novels. They've been having a lot more physical releases over the past couple of years, but the markup sometimes is like, well, man, the digital store sale is insane. You can get this same game for way less.
Wow.
Stuff like that sometimes is tempting, and I'll often get like the digital copy instead. But physical still, as long as I can buy them, I'm going to try and keep doing that.
I love it. Yeah, it's a team of purists. Well, Gene, that leaves you, my friend. You going physical, digital, combo? What's your policy? How do you like to operate?
Totally physical. My whole shelf back here is I'm doing a soy jack pointing. This is for the thumbnail.
Yeah.
For audio listeners, I'm soy jacking. On my shelf, I just have hundreds of Switch games. Switch is my dedicated physical platform, which is tough because it always makes some companies makes it so hard to enjoy physical on the Switch. For example, in the recent Metal Gear collection, I wish they at least put Metal Gear Solid 1 on the cartridge, man. At least Metal Gear Solid 1, but the only thing on the cartridge is Metal Gear 1 and 2.
Oh man!
And it's funny because I actually never played Metal Gear 1, the original one for the MSX.
Oh yeah.
So I tried playing it, and to Micah's point about getting lost in old games, I was completely lost in Metal Gear 1. I was like, I have no idea what I'm supposed to do.
That game is
and
rough.
I looked it up, and I was like, I don't know how I was supposed to figure that out.
That game is rough.
Yeah, it's the Nintendo games. I don't know how that we were able to solve these mystery boxes, but yeah, physical all the way. I have 4 copies of No More Heroes for some reason because I love No More Heroes.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
multiples.
Yeah, multiple copies. But I used to be a guy who used to collect CDs, and if I grew up in the age of vinyls, I would have been collecting vinyls, and I still do sometimes. So yeah, I totally get why not collecting physical is fine though. As a PC gamer, you just get kind of used to it. And I've been kind of trying to acclimate myself towards that too. Trying to get myself into the mode because I don't really care that much about physical music, but games, I don't know. I feel like I got to hold my game,
Yeah, I love it. I mean, it's a thing of beauty. I mean, I like the current state of the world we're in with that now, where you could choose.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't want it. I really fear getting to that point where you don't have the option. It's I understand it might slowly be evolving to that.
I wonder how readers feel when they buy an ebook, and do they feel like, yeah, I got the book, but it's like, no, it's on your Kindle,
Yeah, you don't really have it.
It's not quite the same. As somebody like who reads a lot, I only get ebooks as library rentals because I do use my Kindle more because I admit it, I do read more books that way. But I will, if I really like a book that I rented from the library, I'll go buy the physical copy and have it for the collection.
Exactly.
But as much as I love collecting books, they take up way more space than my games do.
That's a good point.
It's just not as easy. But it doesn't feel quite the same. And I like having my physical catalog of games that I can look through and see like, wow, look at all the stuff I played. And also in terms of tracking the backlog, it's really easy to keep a stack of games I haven't played yet versus sifting through like my digital library of like, what haven't I gotten to? And it's the same with like actual books and ebooks of, it's so easy to accumulate just a ton of ebooks when there's like a sale or something and you pick up a bunch of books for $1 and it isn't just quite the same. But I do definitely prefer like the ebooks these days for ease of use. I'll admit that. That's like the thing I've gone digital with is the reading. But I do still like to buy like really special books for the collection.
Yeah. You have the ones earmarked that you have to have. You have to have all of a certain author, that type of thing. But that's a good point too, Micah. Spatially, games are like 4, 5, 6 to 1 for a book, right? Like you could fit so many more games on a shelf than almost any book, right? So that is interesting. Gene, I wanted to ask you though, with your CD collection, I'm having this dilemma right now. What did you do with it? Did you part with your CDs?
Man, I sold it all, dude.
Did you?
Yeah, over 1,200 CDs, man.
Oh my God, you had a
Dude,
lot.
you and my dad
Mhm.
both.
Holy shit.
1,000 plus.
Yeah,
And my dad
1,000
probably
plus.
had about the same amount as you.
Yeah.
He got rid of Travis, got rid of his as well.
Mm-hmm. He ripped
Wow.
all of it.
Oh,
wow.
He
shit,
ripped
dude.
all of it.
Fuck.
And now, I mean, he has Apple. That was before Apple Music and Spotify.
Sure.
Like,
Sure.
he ripped it, and he still has that. But he's on my Apple Music plan. But he got rid of it. He sold it to a guy in bulk and kept some of it. But
Wow.
Yeah. So I actually have like 30 or 40 CDs left, and these are like my core identity CDs, right? So it's
I
mostly
get it.
Bob Dylan albums, Nirvana albums, Beatle albums, the soundtrack to a Bollywood film Bombay the Hard Way. Very, very, very rare CD to get. Very, very, very,
What?
very rare. I had to buy that at like the bottom of like a basement and everything. And I was like, I can't believe I found this fucking soundtrack. Awesome.
That's awesome.
And yeah, I think just maybe like Sleater Kinney, a 90s girl band. Tupac's All Eyes on Me. Wu Tang, Enter the 36.
Oh, good one. Good choice for keeping.
Bruce Springsteen, Born to Run, just those albums. But like, yeah, over 1,200 CDs, all gone. I sold them in 2015 before moving to DC, and I was like, I can't move all this music. So that was when I gave into Spotify, and I finally subscribed to Spotify. I no longer subscribe to Spotify. I don't like Spotify anymore as a service, but and yeah, I regret it. It feels bad.
Do you regret it? I was going to ask you that.
If I wish, I don't know if I regret it, because I don't think it would have been feasible for me to bring all that music over physically, and I wouldn't have space for it here in my apartment here. But I wish I didn't have to do that. I wish I still had an entire room full of CDs, man, just to look at. Because
that's the thing.
But
because I wasn't a vinyl collector, but CDs were much on a smaller scale, obviously, so less impressive. But that was the last music I had where I could look at the album cover, the imagery. It was a visual thing. That's why I don't have that many as you, Gene, or Travis, but it's hard to part with those because nostalgia, yes, but also just to have that visual or that tangible, tactile version of that album you like, that band, that group,
yeah,
that sort of thing.
For people who didn't grow up with it, people who are much younger than us, and yeah, I can see why that appeal doesn't make sense, I guess. But I mean, I don't know, if you grew up with it, there's something special about being able to look at an album cover art,
Oh, absolutely.
And just even seeing the song titles at the back and seeing the whole package and everything, the date, the producers' names, the liner notes, man, liner notes. Dakin, you might appreciate this, but well, Micah would appreciate this too. I think I told the story before too, but the Game Grumps, right? YouTube started the Game Grumps. So they have a rap rock band called Starbomb. Micah, you know them, right?
I didn't know this.
I'm a big fan.
Yeah. So Starbomb has 3 albums, and they recently put out a box set a couple of years ago, and they actually asked me to write the liner notes for a box set.
No way.
And I thought I was so honored, because I was like, the whole reason why I got into journalism in the first place is because I want to be a music journalist, and I grew up on the era of reading rock journalists from the 1970s and 1980s, and they always contributed the liner notes to like into the liner notes of like the Rolling Stones or the Who album or Led Zeppelin or whatever, especially the box sets. So for me to get into the liner notes of Starbomb just felt especially special to me. I was like, oh, I'm part of a proud lineage of musically inclined journalists who are now writing liner notes in albums of like the musical talents of their time. So back then it was Led Zeppelin. Today it's Starbomb.
But I love it. I love that you were able to do that, but it was like the modern iteration of that.
It's definitely, yeah, because these are YouTube stars making rap rock music about video game characters.
I have to check them out.
The fact that I still was able to do that for a group that I enjoy and I like and I admire, and who is very much of this time, just content creators. I love that.
That's awesome.
Definitely a bucket list for me.
We'll close it out. I have one more. It's a nice, meaty, possibly controversial way to close this out. Now, I want to ask you guys, from your perspective, what was the best first-party franchise on the console? In other words, what Nintendo IP proved out best over the lifespan of the Switch? For me, I'll say, yes, you had Mario, sort of the 1-2 of Mario Wonder and Mario Odyssey, but I think that 1-2 punch of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom is pretty tough to beat. So for me, even though I wasn't a super fan of those games, and my son adores those games, he finally started on Tears of the Kingdom. I was like, dude, what took you so long? Like you were I never saw anyone turn a game inside out like my son did with Breath of the Wild. So I don't know what took him so long to jump into Tears of the Kingdom. He's 13 and he's finicky, but for me, it would have to be Zelda over the life of the Switch. But that just, it's going to be different per your taste. Micah, what about you? What IP did you think, proved out the best over that 7 years?
I'm torn because my default answer is, the problem is there's only one game, Yoshi's Crafted World. But that's all we got on Switch. We only got that one.
Right.
But the thing is, I loved it so much. And I have been waiting this whole time, be like, well, they got to give us another Yoshi game soon, right? Like, there's got to be another, it's going to be like Yoshi's Lego World or whatever the hell they're going to do. But it's like, when are we getting another game where Yoshi's made out of little paper and crafty bits? But we only got one. So I don't feel like that really counts. I want to say Kirby, because we got variety with Kirby. We got Kirby Star Allies, which is just a really fun co-op game and has like a weird difficulty spike towards the end. And then Kirby and the Forgotten Land, I also like thoroughly enjoyed. Another game that has its own level of challenge depending on like how you want to play it. Like you want to do the time trials to like, get all 3 stars and everything. The game will be really difficult. If you want to be like me and just get through the game, you don't have to be as good. And so I didn't play every Kirby game that has come out like on Switch recently, because they had some, what was it? The Kirby dessert game. It's like, it was the digital only title. It was like Kirby's Sweet something. I can't remember. But there's been a variety. And that's what I look at when I see the list of Kirby releases. I haven't gotten back to the re-release yet of Kirby, like, is it Return to Dreamland that they just put on Switch? But my phone literally won't unlock, so I can't Google it. It's just stuck on my Vegeta screen here. I can't do anything with it. It's broken.
That's a mess.
It's fantastic. But so I just look at the variety of Kirby games that have been released and the ones that I've enjoyed. And I just say like that it had something for everybody. So that's the one I'm going to look at for like my franchise I think did really well on Switch, only because they gave us so much and so many different options on how to interact with that character.
I love it. Who doesn't love Kirby? Kirby's Dream Buffet, right?
Yes.
Is that the one?
That's it.
Yeah, and I didn't play that because I think it's like an online game. Like it was one of those, the trailer was really cute, and then when I saw what it actually was, I was like, oh, this is like to play with friends, of which I have none, so never mind. And then my phone finally unlocked Kirby Return to Dreamland Deluxe, which I just haven't bought yet. It's not going to go down in price anyways, so what's the rush? But that's another one. I'm just like, we just have so much to get through on Switch from that little character. So that'd be my choice.
Those are good answers. Have you guys noticed Walmart pulling some Nintendo first party pricing hijinks lately? I saw that Link's Awakening went on sale for like $40.
Well,
and I was like, Nintendo doesn't know about that. There's no way Nintendo knows about that. And that must have been fast, because I was like, that game's only 4 years old and that's a Nintendo first party IP. And it's a from the ground up remake. There's no way that game should be on sale for $39.99, but if it's still on sale, go buy it before Nintendo yanks it. But if somebody could pull hijinks, it's Walmart, right? I was talking about that with Helene, which she was sort of deliriously uninterested, but I was talking at her about this, and I was like, who's more powerful, Walmart or Nintendo? Like, Walmart's staring Nintendo down. Like, you're not going to pull Nintendo from Walmart. So if anybody could get away with it, it's Walmart. I think that's really interesting. All right. What do you think, Dust? For your who wins? Who wins first party IP over the Switch?
It has to be Zelda. But I feel like that's I want to focus on what I would say is number 2, the surprising number 2, because we've talked about Zelda. Everyone, Tears of the Kingdom, of course, Breath of the Wild. They ported Skyward Sword, stuff like that. A lot of Zelda. Zelda's the winner. But I think what I would say is the mainstream winner, the winner outside of just the hardcore gamers, got to be Animal Crossing. Just being a huge success and landing and coming out at the absolute perfect time, unintentionally, of course, with the pandemic, right when it began.
It's true.
And
no, they knew.
Dude, Nintendo caused it. I mean, maybe, who knows? But I think that game brought so many people to the Switch, so many people that are like, well, I'm stuck inside. Everyone says this Animal Crossing game is great, and it's not necessarily crazy difficult, or it's meant for casual people. So Animal Crossing, I think, just a huge winner in terms of the Switch, with only 1.5 games, a game and the DLC. And that was it. But it's still one of the best-selling games of the platform, and just brought so many people to it.
Yeah, everybody loves it. And I love Nintendo as the scapegoat for COVID. Maybe it started with Nintendo.
Could be.
Maybe it was, hey, talk about family fun. Gene, what about you? Where are you going with this one?
Yeah, I would say I want to say Zelda, but it's only because sorry, I just got a text. I want to say Zelda, but I can't. It's hard to argue against Zelda because, like you said, Breath of the Wild and Tears is just an incredible amount of content for one system. How lucky we were to get two groundbreaking Zelda games in one console generation. But also, we didn't get Twilight Princess and Wind Waker, so it's like I wish I could call Switch the ideal Zelda system, right? Especially since Hyrule Warriors, both games did so well, but. Yeah, I don't know. I guess my mind immediately went to Animal Crossing. What a boon the Switch was for Animal Crossing, that series. A huge catapult. I mean, but the same goes for Zelda too. Zelda, it needs to be said, Zelda has never been the biggest blockbuster best-selling series. It's been a good selling series, but it wasn't quite. Clearly beating all PlayStation exclusives until Breath of the Wild was, right? So I don't know. I guess it's a toss-up between Animal Crossing and Zelda in terms of which franchises benefited the most. Yeah, Kirby was good too, but we still could have used more Kirby games too. I feel it feels like Mario probably just got the most love, but Mario is just so easy to port and bring over. But yeah, I gotta say it's been the generation of Animal Crossing and Zelda for sure.
Oh yeah, it's interesting. I mean, that 1-2 punch with the two mainline Zelda games, and then the other things like Link's Awakening. And I think here's the thing: mainline, like new open world, as I say, Ghibli Zelda isn't coming for a while. So I think Ocarina is going to get the remake on this new Nintendo console for sure, because that's going to be the buffer period while we wait for, whatever, Tears of the Kingdom 2, essentially. I'm imagining they're going to keep going with this whole look, feel, art direction, open world, that type of thing. So that's it, guys. So, I just sort of see what kind of Switch person were you, in 4 easy peasy questions, and that was it.
Cool. Well, thanks, Dag. Thank you for probing us for our temperature with some Switch stuff.
Just orally.
Just orally, that's fine. But a probe nonetheless in any orifice is welcome, figuratively in this matter. So thank you for that. We appreciate it. Guys, let's end off. I have a couple questions here. We're going a little over our 2 hours. So we're not that we have a limit, but there's so many shows. I want to keep it contained so you guys can, listen to all of it and stuff like that. I understand there's an economy of time that you guys have to listen. So let me end off with this one final question here that I think is kind of fun. You guys don't know what I'm going to ask. You can see the questions at the bottom I put out, but I'm only going to ask one. It's going to be the last one from Raychaz. Says, hey guys, this November will be 10 years of Amiibo. And next month, we'll finally get our last Smash character, Sora. Is anyone else bummed Sora is not getting a multi-amiibo run, since he has multiple outfits based on his many appearances in-game? Steve, Cloud, Bayonetta, Corrin, and Rob all got multiple amiibo for the final Smash amiibo. I was hoping they would go out in grand fashion and not just like a small fart in the wind. Ooh. Also, do you think we'll get any game series with such a large amiibo series as Smash? Or do you think we are nearing the end? Thanks, Ray Chaz. So yeah, this is a question that's very near and dear to my heart. Not gonna lie, it definitely spoke to me in particular. But it is true that the Smash Amiibo line is almost done, finally. Which, dude, when he wrote that, it's been 10 years. It's so crazy because it's just a reminder that I've now been an adult for 10 years. I remember, let's see, I guess 10 years ago, did Smash come out before or after I got married? I'm trying to remember. I remember being in my apartment with Holly right when we got married, when I got my first amiibo, and it was Link. And I told her, I was like, oh, I'm just going to get one. I just one. Then you get one, you're like, yeah, these are kind of cool. Maybe I'll get another one.
You really, really do just start with one. It's always Link, right?
Mm-hmm. You know? The P Link. Yep. The Link that he has like the P block
with the frozen P pillar coming out from under his butt. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
that was also my first one too. Yeah, that's everyone's first amiibo for some reason, but it was like one of the first ones too.
I try to not have the 8-brain instinct where I remember that they all came out. I remember seeing all of them at Walmart. I think it was either Walmart or Target. I saw all of them, and that's when I got Link. And then a few weeks later, when I went back to get more, a lot of them were sold out. I was like, what? And that's when, and then, this is what I'm saying. The 8-brain kicks in. It's like, oh, well, people want these and I can't have them because they're not here. Now I kind of want it more. Like that Wii Fit trainer. I kind of want that one because I can't get it here. So, and that was the thing where it's like a lot of those, they immediately became hard to get. And it became a huge obsession for me. But yeah, it's crazy. The last one, Sora, I have 2 pre-ordered. It's the only amiibo that I've ever bought 2 of, so I can keep one in the box and then open the other one. But I was curious what you guys thought in that Nintendo has absolutely slowed down on this, where I'm trying to think of the last what amiibos they've done, or amiibo. It's technically, people are like, oh, Dawson, it's actually amiibo, not amiibos. You're not supposed to pluralize it, but I'm trying.
They had the Splatoon 3 ones, like the big manta guy, the hosts. I think they did. Yeah. The Minecraft ones aren't super recent, but those are the ones like I most recently bought.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did. Yeah, the Minecraft. I mean, those are part of Smash. I'm trying to think of ones outside of Smash where they did. Okay, they did a Monster Hunter. They did 2 Monster Hunter DLC ones, and they did some proper ones for Rise. But just think about the fact that the opportunity to make an Elephant Mario amiibo was before them, and they said, "Nah."
That is a good point.
Like that is such an easy buy for me. That is immediate as soon as I'm buying it immediately. And I think that would be for a lot of people. But I think moving forward, I think Sora, that might be it. I think Sora might be the Last of Us, the last of the amiibo. He's done. Right. That's it. And I'm really sad about that. So, Dag, I know that you were interested in getting into amiibo, but then scared off. How do you feel about, this might be the end?
It could be the end of an era, right? And it could speak to one clue about the new console is that there'll be no Amiibo connectivity, right? I mean, you know what I really love, what I've always loved about Amiibo, for me, it's kind of the final word in character design of these characters. Like, it's the best design of all these characters individually and then cohesively as a family, not just Nintendo IP, right? Mind you, but the Capcom stuff, the Square Enix stuff, whatever characters they integrated, it's like the best version visually, aesthetically of that character. It's pretty brilliant. I mean, in terms of art direction and just kind of curating a look for, I think, what modern Nintendo feels like, especially first party IP. I'm going to miss that if it goes away. But the Elephant Mario is a really good point, especially because if they paid attention to scale, that could have been larger and more expensive, and people would have went in for it. So it's sad to think that it's going away, but it might also be an indicator that Nintendo's going away from, I think Nintendo is always going to be the family friendly option. I think they're always going to concentrate on fun games that are appropriate for children. But as they kind of move into this modern gaming world and diversifying a little bit, I think they're stepping away from that toyetic, sort of where the toy company, the way they sneakily got into North America with the NES and the Zapper and Rob the Robot, Duck Hunt and all that kind of stuff. Like, it's not a video game. It's not Atari. We know that just crashed the market. It's a toy. They're doing the opposite thing now. Like we're a game. We're a gaming company. Or I guess in this world of Nintendo, we're an entertainment company. So yeah.
I did remember that they did the Tears of the Kingdom amiibo, and they released the 2 additional ones with the floating Zelda and the Ganondorf one that
stuff, right?
Micah pointed out. Perfect for a jar. So, Micah, did you get it?
Sexy Ganon.
Did you get Sexy Ganon? And I know Colin has some amiibo, but do you partake?
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, I got a bunch, they're interspersed on the shelves with my other figures and kind of just around the room. Colin does have, many amiibo as well. Actually, the most recent one I pre-ordered, they're doing a second run of Shulk, which that comes out on the 19th, I believe. So I pre-ordered that from Target because once I got into Xenoblade and I got, the Target email that they were re-releasing that amiibo, I was like, well, now I want it. At the time, I had no idea who Shulk was, before, but now I'm like, well, now this is amiibo I really want. So I do still collect them here and there, but much like Nintendo has, they're not releasing as many of them, I am showing more restraint these days. And same with Funko Pops, just really, I'm out of space, there's so much behind me here. So I'm really out of room and there's just not as much that I can put here. It is a little sad though, because if I think wow, are these actually going to go away? Will we stop making amiibo? Because Nintendo had that robust line of the World of Nintendo children's toys, which were awesome. And I own some of those. They're really just great little mini figures. But when more and more amiibo started coming out, I saw less and less of the World of Nintendo line at the toy store. And so I was like, well, wait a minute, you're kind of replacing your toy line with these. But if these go away, are they going to bring back more of their toy line? I don't know.
That's
because
what
I just love that these are just, I just like that these are high quality little figures. Have I used a single one of these amiibo with the Switch? No.
Yeah.
I haven't actually used an amiibo for its purpose probably since the Wii U. So I don't want to use them for that. They're just cute little figures. They probably know that though. And maybe they're we could just make cute little figures and they won't cost us as much to make and nobody's using them for that anyways. But it is a little sad, a little jarring to realize wow, 10 years, that feels crazy, but I am sad to see them dwindling as Nintendo. It used to be the big thing, here's 6 amiibo coming out soon. And then now it's just here's 1 coming out and then that's it. It is a little sad.
Yeah.
Who's got the Nintendo toy license? That's Jakks Pacific. Is that right? They make really nice quality, like Mike was saying, really nice quality toys. And they make the more, kid-friendly stuff and they make the more collector-friendly, posable stuff. But that's a great point that Micah has. They may be clearing the way to just do that, especially in association with their films and their games and becoming this multimedia, conglomerate that Amiibos maybe don't make sense in that, make as much sense in that world. Because like Mike is saying, a lot of people aren't using them for game connectivity. They're using them to it's another way to express your fandom of the characters in the games that you really love, that you're really enthusiastic about. So yeah, it's a good point.
Gene, is this the end? Or maybe. I mean, the dream is Amiibo 2.0 revamp for the new Switch. That could be. That's probably wishful thinking. What do you think?
I don't know. I wonder how they feel about this program. I doubt. I'm sure that many people are like Micah that just never used it as the toys to life concept or whatever. And same with me. The only time I ever used them was for Zelda Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, when you get the legacy outfits for Link. You have to use the Twilight Princess Link to get the Twilight Princess outfit. You don't have to do that in Tears of the Kingdom anymore. Actually, you can just find those, which is beautiful and wonderful. But you can still use the Amiibo if you want to just not bother looking for those and just finding it, which is always fun. But beyond that, that was the only time I ever really used Amiibo ever. So other than that, again, soy jacking. It's the only reason why I have them, is just for display. But how many more of these can they make? I don't know. I guess you can make your 20th version of Link as an Amiibo, but yeah, I do think that there's probably a limit to these, and maybe they just end up becoming the collector's items that they are pretty much always are still. I still have my last two Amiibos are actually Shiver and Fry, the girl pop group from Splatoon 3 that just came out, and Kazuya from Tekken, and Sephiroth from Final FF7. Those are my last Amiibo. I did not get Sora. I want to, but I am not a Kingdom Hearts fan. And it's not because I don't like Kingdom Hearts, Dustin. It's not because I don't like Kingdom Hearts. It's just that I haven't played them. I played part 1 and I hated it, but this was back when it was launched and I didn't understand it. And it's still an old game where there's just a lot of stupid bullshit, right, Dustin, at the beginning?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to bait Dustin into like a rant or whatever, but
listen, Gene, there's only one friend I know who knows more about Kingdom Hearts than me, and arguably likes it more than me. And that's Brad Ellis. Yeah. So we've got our people.
Who?
You will be educated soon enough.
I bought the complete Kingdom Hearts set on PlayStation 4.
Nice.
Box set in preparation for this. And while I was sick, I decided maybe I was going to do it. And then I was like, I'm too sick for this shit right now.
I'm sick enough.
Once you start messing with the gummy ship and you're like, this is bogus, but I'm out of here.
I am open and I want to be into Kingdom Hearts. I want to be into this world. I want to be able to say, you know what, guys, Kingdom Hearts is actually amazing. And because I see it, I see what's there. And I sympathize with Kingdom Hearts folks, because the Xenoblade fans always get it too. Obviously there are more Kingdom Hearts fans than Xenoblade fans, but everyone thinks that Xenoblade the Chronicles is just a little another anime, waifu type of a series, and just of characters just going wow wow wow, and it's like that's what they always say about Kingdom Hearts too, and people love that shit, and it's like I love Xenoblade, so I'm not gonna throw stones. I want to get into Kingdom Hearts, so I'll do it. If the fucking the Switch versions of Kingdom Hearts were not Cloud, then I would have played it. Absolutely,
yeah, those fucking Cloud versions. That's some
That fucking
that's
pissed
laziness.
me off. When I saw that announcement, I was like, oh, I'm finally gonna play Kingdom Hearts because I want to play on the Switch. I feel like Kingdom Hearts makes so much sense on a Nintendo platform. For fuck's sake, Swords and Smash, they have an Amiibo. So I just feel like that. Like I would have gotten Sora if I had played Kingdom Hearts, and I would have played Kingdom Hearts if they didn't have a fucking Cloud version on the Switch. So for Switch 2, Kingdom Hearts Trilogy, Kingdom Hearts 4, maybe even, that would be exciting to get the whole Kingdom Hearts series on the Switch 2, and then I can finally delve into it. Because there's not a lot of series where I'm just like, I don't know anything about that, and Kingdom Hearts is one of them, and I need to tackle that. So. Persona, I understand. I don't need to finish Persona 5 to understand the Persona series. Mm-hmm. But I should finish one Kingdom Hearts game to understand Kingdom Hearts.
I think if you beat 1 and maybe if you played 1 Chain of Memories and 2, you'd be like, holy shit, this is... I mean, it really immediately goes off the rails with Chain of Memories. Straight up, they're like, hey, this is a Game Boy Advance spinoff. Not only is it essential, but it is going to get insane. from here on out, just complete chaos.
You know what?
That's what we love about it.
I'm inspired right now. I think I'm gonna break out the PS4 and
But you can play it on your PS5 too.
well, yeah, I could, but
Yeah.
I still have my PS4. I like the DualShock better than the DualSense. So
Oh, yeah.
okay.
I can still play it on the PS4. I might still do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a save going, and I got fairly far, and I got further into Kingdom Hearts 1 than I ever have. And I was so proud of myself. And then other stuff just happened. So I should just pick that up again.
Yeah, dude,
I'll
do
do
it.
it. I'll do
Then
it.
we can meet you and Brad on some.
Yeah. Dude, if we can have
go
an
hard.
Alice and Kingdom Hearts spoiler cast, wouldn't that be the dream? I want this for you, Dustin, too.
Mm-hmm.
You're my new friend. I like you a lot. And I want to do something for you. And,
Wow.
And Brad is here too. I feel like the synergy is there. We can overwhelm Colin. We can take over Colin's company.
Oh yeah, that's the long running plan for years now.
Colin's already shaking his boots, with Summon Sign already lapping sacred symbols.
Oh yeah.
I hear the fear in his voice.
A little tremble.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Shaken. A little shaken.
What a great way to end this podcast. Colin trembling in his boots. The guy that pays all of us. We like to have him be afraid.
Aren't you feeling threatened, Colin? Anyways, thanks for the money.
Anyway, thanks for the money. Thanks for letting us do the show. But yeah, let's go ahead and
Patreon.com/laststandmedia.
Yeah, good. Yeah. Thanks everybody for listening. We appreciate it. This has been Punching Up a Nintendo Podcast. Let's go around and say goodbye. Dagan, goodbye. It's so nice seeing you again after all these years.
I know it's been a while, but it's nice to be back in Nintendo mode and shaking off the rust. And it's good to see you guys. And I think this is going to be a fun year. I think it's just going to take a little time to get there. But there's always things to talk about. Listen, how many things have we heard about the new Mario game already? Is it a Mario Omniverse? Is it Mario Journey? It's open world Mario. Like the rumor mill. I can't wait till actual news starts because the rumor mill has been pretty blatantly bad. Let's be honest.
Micah, goodbye to you. Fuck Brad for upstaging the haircut. We're just gonna put that out there. But yeah. Any final? I was gonna say final words, which makes it sound like I'm gonna kill you. Any final words?
I know. Any last words?
Yeah.
I have to bring Rush to the vet tomorrow. He's getting his first ever teeth cleaning, and I have to drop him off at 7:15 in the morning. So we're both gonna be unhappy because I wake up before Rush does. All right, Rush loves to sleep in, so he's not gonna be happy about it. I'm already not happy about it. But we are excited to get his little teeth cleaned. We do our best. He gets his dental treats every day. He gets his teeth brushed periodically. But he's got one little yellow tooth, and we call it the stink tooth. So we got to get these cleaned, but it's time.
That's like
he's 3 years old.
It's Always Sunny. There's the girl that has the dead tooth.
Yeah.
I
think I was just watching that clip. That's so funny.
That's a good shit.
So that's my adventure tomorrow. Rush is getting his teeth cleaned, and I'm a little nervous. They make it so high stakes. They're like, oh, your dog's getting anesthesia. You have to approve CPR in case anything goes wrong. They make it so scary, and I'm like, it's just the dentist. All right, I'm trying to keep my cool, but I know I'm going to be nervous about it.
Yeah. Well, understood. Yeah, we just had Frisk's teeth cleaned. And it was very fucking expensive. It was like $1,000 because she needed to get some teeth removed too. Wow. It was insane. But yeah, anyway, Gene, thank you for joining us. I meant to say, I know that your shirt, it looks a slightly like a gay pride shirt from my blurred thing, but I'm pretty sure is it Taco Bell? What is
Taco
it?
Bell.
Taco Bell. Dude,
I can't even see it clear.
Pride with Taco Bell, dude.
Love it.
Yeah. No, it's for the gay Taco Bell. No, I'm kidding.
I know it's the end of the show. It's a little late for statements. Taco Bell is fucking delicious. It's great food. It has never made me sick. Chipotle has made me sick, and it's supposed to be all natural. So I'm just saying, thank you for wearing that shirt, Gene. Any final words?
I love Taco Bell, and I know many Mexican people love Taco Bell, so that's not even an issue. I love Taco Bell, but I will say I think Taco Bell is probably the most inconsistent fast food restaurant out there.
Yeah,
right. Like when it's good, it is peak. There is no food better than Taco Bell, right? But then, man, so sometimes you catch them on the off time when you get the wrong kitchen, the wrong staff, and I don't know what happened there. But yeah, we actually have a Taco Bell cantina, the clubby one with the DJs and the alcohol.
Is that the one in Alexandria?
Oh, really?
There is one in Alexandria, and there's one on 14th Street up here in DC too right now.
Maybe we got a little date night, me and you, Gene, at the Taco Bell cantina.
Cantina, you know.
Yeah.
Happy to be back. Happy to be in Nintendo mode. It's a slow start to 2024, but I guarantee you, this is going to be the year of punching up and Nintendo. This is our year. Nintendo. This is the biggest year for Nintendo. There is. It's so slow over on PlayStation Land and Xbox Land. You know, enjoy Suicide Squad, I guess. You know, next gen exclusive. Dude, have you seen the previews for that came out just today?
Yeah, I saw that IGN was like, we don't like it.
Oh
like it was part of their headline or one of those sites were like, we didn't like it.
IGN, Eurogamer, and Video Game Chronicles all came out and says this is not a good game. We are less excited than we were before when we played it. It's like, yeah. So enjoy that. We're gonna get our new console with well, I don't know, man. Come back to this clip when the Switch 2 lineup is shitty and throw it back in my face, I guess. But
yeah,
it's gonna be an exciting year nonetheless, though.
Never.
Happy to be sharing it with you. Excited to for more times in the future.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. To the audience, thank you for hanging out. Make sure, leave a comment. Let Gene know if you think he's wrong or if he's right or if you like Taco Bell. But don't tell me if you don't like Taco Bell. I don't give a fuck. It's good stuff. Thanks, everybody. We'll be back, not next week, but the week after. We'll see you later. Goodbye. Punching Up, a Nintendo podcast, is a product of Last Stand Media and Collins Last Stand, LLC, and is proudly recorded in the USA. The show is written and produced by me, Dustin Furman. My co-hosts are Gene Park, Dagan Moriarty, and Micah Watson. The show is edited by associate producer Ben Smith. All of Last Stand's theme music is by Ramon Narvaez. Punching Up, along with the rest of Last Stand Media shows, are fan-funded on Patreon at patreon.com/laststandmedia. The following names are at the producer level on Patreon, our highest tier, and we're grateful for your kind contributions and generosity to our independent endeavor. Thank you.